Welcome to the WAN Show, guys. The show where every week we have technical difficulties out the wazoo. In fact, our mic isn't even positioned correctly anymore because we just scooched over on the couch. Ah, that's okay. Brandon's coming back in to fix it for us.
The audio setup's gonna work perfectly.
Yeah, I know, right? But it's okay. We have a compressor now, so at least when I get all like excitable about things, it's not gonna be like, oh, like crap. Linus is talking way too loud. But then when he talks quietly, you may actually be able to hear him. So we got some great topics today. Number one is that Corsair and Cherry have co-announced individually multicolor RGB backlit Cherry MX mechanical key switches.
Sweet.
So that's going to be a Corsair exclusive at the beginning, at least, but we'll see what happens. I mean, that's a really funny one to me. I mean, maybe they threw some money into co-developing it or something like that, because there are bigger mechanical keyboard guys than Corsair by
a
lot, but there you go. Exclusivity for at least a little while. DisplayPort 1.3 is being talked about, so we're going to see a bandwidth increase from something along the lines of 5.4 gigabit per second in DisplayPort 1.2 to 8.1 gigabit per second in DisplayPort 1.3, which is going to enable 4K resolution displays and all kinds of other cool stuff.
Up to 8K.
Did I say 4K? Because I meant 8K. So once again, HDMI is playing catch up. Our special guest today is Barnacules. So he's a fellow YouTuber. I'm just going to go ahead and throw the little lower third on there. So there's like glasses on him or something. Edsel made this lower third to make him happy or something. All right, what else we got for topics this week?
OCZ was bought out by Toshiba in a deal that was
everything.
That was worth slightly more than just OCZ buying the Indelinks controller, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And we're going to discuss the possible end of AMD FX processors.
Possible? Again. Possible. All right, welcome to the show, guys. All right, guys, so our sponsor this week is Squarespace, so you can head over to squarespace.com/Linus. Squarespace is the easy way to create your own website, and if you use our offer code, which is Linus12, then you can get yourself 10% off your own Squarespace website. So they handle the hosting, they handle the creation tools, and you don't have to do it the simple way. You can actually just take one of their templates. They have tons of templates that are ideal for things like blogs, stores, or community sort of portals and all kinds of cool stuff like that. And then you can even dive into the HTML and the CSS, and you can play around with it and customize it to your heart's content. They have very scalable plans, and in fact, LinusMediaGroup.com is hosted on one. It's a very inexpensive one, but when we get hit really hard with a ton of traffic, then it's all good as well.
One quick second, did you say Linus 11?
I just said 12.
Okay.
Because it should be 12.
Someone just said Linus 11 in chat, so let's just make sure. It's Linus 12.
Yeah, Linus 12, and my height in inches. But
I didn't bring that part up. I didn't bring that part up at all.
Yeah, well, it was there. So let's jump into our first topic of the day, Cherry MX RGB keyboards. This is something that I'm sure there are at least 2 people in this room that are excited about. So the original article that we tracked down here was on Hexus, and look at that.
Looking at that hurts my brain because of where the W is.
Well, that's about,
Nope.
It's kind of close. Somewhat close.
Ish.
Close-ish.
It hurts.
Yeah, okay, it's wrong. So guys, the W should probably be more like about here with a slight overlap on the A and the S line right here. So it should be slightly overlapping the A. But you know what? It's okay because the news is good enough that I'm willing to let this one slide.
Yep.
I think it's all good. So we're going to be looking at individual RGB LED lighting inside every single key switch. Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a moment, and I'm going to talk about what could be negative about this.
Okay.
I've already run into quite a few situations with individually backlit Cherry MX keyboards that have a single backlight go out, and then all of a sudden the keyboard is now useless. Now think about this in terms of RMA rates. Something with a defective rate of less than 1% is pretty darn good.
That's really, really good.
Yes, that's really good. So you look at PS4. Okay, so they had the HDMI issue, but then they came out and they're like, okay, well, hold on a second. It's only like 0.4% of units, which is actually good.
Really solid. Yeah.
That's solid. Okay, so a typical keyboard has 104 keys, meaning it will have approximately 100 backlights. And then if we go RGB on that, that means every keyboard, what just happened? That means every keyboard is going to have 300 backlights-ish, which means the chance of something being wrong with your keyboard is extremely high. Now, you could go, okay, well, hold on a second, Linus. Membrane keyboards have had RGB lighting for ages, but the way that they do it is different. They do it in zones or across the whole keyboard with a few LEDs below and then a diffuser layer. So
maybe this reduces issues. If there's 3 LEDs, you lose a third of your possible colors.
What if you lose 2 of your LEDs?
I would like to say that was not me. I take no responsibility for what just happened. But then you can't maybe have your favorite color.
But then, okay, are you willing to RMA a keyboard once if it means you can have RGB backlighting on your mechanical keyboard?
What?
Like, if you were like, okay, well, there's a good chance I'm just going to have to...
Like, in comparison to RB?
In comparison to just not having any customization.
At all?
Yeah, just single color. Like, are you willing to take that risk? It's like, I'm going to pay a bunch extra. It might be defective, but damn it, I want it. I want that RGB backlighting.
What? Oh, you mean when you're buying? Like,
yeah,
that was
like
a
when you're
weird
making
way
the
of
decision
asking
to
that
buy
question. Because you said, would you be willing to RMA your keyboard? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. So would you be willing to take the risk of getting a defective one if that meant that you could have like this awesome new feature?
I don't think there's going to be very many defective ones. So yes, probably.
Okay, all right. So it's coming in a variety of Cherry MX key switch flavors. I kind of freaked out because when I saw the Corsair press announcement...
You only see red, right?
They only had this one. I sent, like, the most distressed email ever to our Corsair PR contact. I was like, dude, hey.
Did you send him that survey thing?
Yeah, I did. I sent it. So there was a thing on the mechanical keyboard subreddit that was like, "What's your favorite Cherry MX switch?" And like red was like tiny little. The problem with that though is it's
a specific audience.
It's a small sample size and it's a specific audience because Cherry MX Reds are marketed to gamers. I don't think gamers are sitting around in our mechanical keyboards.
There's definitely some, but it is a specific audience,
and they voted for Cherry MX Red,
and it's not a that's a good point, and it's not a broad audience, and it's not a perfect survey.
See, and I saw this image too, and I was like, what? That's the only one clear. So how would the transparent cases? How the LEDs are gonna? Anyway, I was freaking out, but everything's good. So we're going to see it integrated on different key switch types. It is going to be Corsair exclusive for an undisclosed period of time, which I'm okay with because as much as Corsair might not be as big of a player in keyboards as they are in something like memory or power supplies, I don't have any complaints about their mechanical keyboards.
K70s are pretty sweet.
K70's pretty sweet. We actually just got some Cherry MX brown K70s, and they are a big hit with everyone in the office.
I wasn't a huge fan of K60s. I think you know that.
Yep. Oh, I wasn't a big fan of the K60 either.
Yeah.
It's Cherry MX Red only, which neither of us are particularly fond of. And it had some issues with BIOS detection. And so that's all solved with the K70, and they have additional switch types. You know, I talked to Corsair about it, and this was really interesting because they were like, I was like, okay, well, hold on, with the RGB ones, you guys are going to have like lots of key switches types, right? And he's like, well, okay, Linus, think about this, okay? We've got different bodies, right? Some people got big bodies, some people got slim bodies, sexy bodies. Okay, keyboard bodies, sorry. So they have different keyboard layouts, 104 key, they got the short one, that's the K65, I think, something like that. They've got the K95, which is the big Deluxo one. So they got bodies. Then they got regional.
So does everyone else. Keep going.
Then they got regional differences, so they're going to have different layouts. Then they've got key switches. Then, I mean, some keyboard companies start adding backlight colors, and then all of a sudden, you got like what is essentially like a keyboard at the end of the day, and you've got, 300 SKUs. So I'm like, okay, so you're gonna have like the RGB version and the not RGB version, and you're gonna have the brown and the black and the red and the green and the clear and the, I don't know, the
You don't need all those.
poop.
They're not even doing it on all those. They're only doing it on 4, so they wouldn't have green and clear.
Okay, fine. But the point is that you're going to end up with a lot of SKUs, and I understand why we don't necessarily get to have our cake and eat it too. So we're going to see what SKUs they come out with. We are definitely having a look at this at CES. I don't know if I told you this, but we are the very first press booking in Corsair Suite.
Nice. You probably saw my note.
So we are Oh, and yes, I will be going.
Yeah.
So this was on Luke's notes for this. Actually, here I'll screen share with you guys here. Check this out. So control plus. Okay, I'm sure Linus will check these at CES. Grumble. And I'm totally gonna send him to like, I don't know, Fantex at the same time. Mind you, they may have some cool stuff on display. They reached out to me today, so I'll set that up with you. Yeah. But
we got to get samples. I want to see these.
I'm definitely doing the Corsair. You know what's funny is I asked Corsair, I was like, whatever demo one you guys are showing off at the show, can I just like take it after the show? We'll do like really nice glam footage of it and everything. We just want to play with it. And he's like, no. He's like, yeah, that one is pretty Frankenstein. It's gonna have like
that's exactly what I want.
It's gonna have like a modded like power adapter.
Perfect.
And it's like they took a completely different keyboard and like hand modded it. Speaking of hand modded, my G-Sync monitor has arrived, which I haven't had a chance to play games on yet, but I'm going to this weekend sure.
I've seen a whole bunch of spam in the chat about your G-Sync thing.
Yeah, I'm going to this weekend for sure. And the G-Sync monitor is so badass. Like it is one of the most engineering sample things that I have ever gotten. That is unlisted. Please change that to public. Thank you. It is one of the most engineering sample things I've ever received. So it says prototype on a sticker on the back, okay? Like it's an Asus monitor, and it's like prototype on the back. And then you flip it onto the back, and it has like an NVIDIA vinyl wrap on it that's obviously designed for show use. Like they wouldn't send that to a reviewer like that because reviewers don't care what the back of a monitor looks like. Okay, and then you look at the bottom of it, and the inputs, like the DVI and VGA and HDMI inputs, are just gone. Like the holes are there, but they just rip them out because it only supports G-Sync over DisplayPort. And then the power plug is just gone, and it comes with like this random like huge power brick, and then it just has like a DC jack in the middle of the AC like large receptacle. I'm just like, wow. That's cool. I love it. Apparently we're dropping a few frames. I'm not sure what the deal is with that, but hopefully you guys can endure. Yeah, it's not a ton. It's not too many. All right, so let's move on to our next topic here. This was actually something that was talked about a little while ago. So let's go ahead and screen share here. So the article here is from Legit Reviews, and it's ECS to begin making Asus motherboards. Now, okay, that might sound a lot crazier than it actually is. Whoa. So, what's up? What's up?
Nothing.
What's up?
We're lagging a little bit.
What's up?
We're good.
Okay, so that might actually sound a lot crazier than it actually is, because something a lot of people don't know about ECS is that they are, or at least they were not that long ago, still considered a tier 1 manufacturer. Not because their retail business, like their retail ECS boards sold particularly well, or frankly were particularly good, but because as far as just contract manufacturing goes, there was nothing wrong with ECS. They know how to put capacitors on a PCB and keep RMA rates low and manufacture something and put it in a box for you and produce it. So they would do a lot of OEM manufacturing, whereas their retail branded stuff just really wasn't that important. So what? Oh, okay, whatever. So yes, we know it's old news, but I just wanted to clarify because some people were kind of freaking out because they're like, oh, holy cow, Asus's quality is going to go down. Asus's engineering will still be excellent. The only reason for them to do this is just that they want to extend their ability to have things manufactured beyond just Pegatron. So I don't know if you guys know this, but Asus and Pegatron used to be the same company, and they split, whereas Asus is the branding and engineering and marketing, and then Pegatron was a spin-off that is pure manufacturing.
Pegasus.
Yeah. Yeah. So Pegatron wants to be able to take business from guys who otherwise might be Asus competitors, and they don't want to give Asus a bunch of money so they can manufacture through Pegatron, and then Asus wants to manufacture through Pegatron and someone else, but then MSI and Gigabyte, with all the history there, are not going to want to manufacture anything for Asus.
That's not going to happen.
So it looks like ECS, with their much weaker retail business, doesn't view Asus as the same kind of competition that Gigabyte and MSI do. So that's where all of that comes down to.
I'm still kind of surprised that we see a lot of stuff.
I love this. I love this chat. I'm paid by NVIDIA. Sure.
For what?
I don't know. I'm paid by NVIDIA. Has NVIDIA ever given us money?
No.
Actually, the one time NVIDIA gave us money, this is kind of a funny story. Yeah. The one time NVIDIA gave us money. Oh no, they did. They ran some pre-rolls like early in the year, but it wasn't very much.
Oh.
The one time in the last 6 months that they've given us money was actually when we got our sample of GTX 780. And I got dinged with import duties at the door, and they told me they'd reimburse me, and it took them like 3 months, and they finally gave me like cash because they couldn't figure out how to send me money because I'm not set up properly in their system. So that's how much money NVIDIA gives me, $70.
Well, no, because you had to spend that much money to get that much money.
Yes.
That's like saying you went to the casino with $20 and came out with $20 and you made $20.
Yes. So NVIDIA gives us money. All right, let's go ahead and... Oh, man, my thing is, like, super zoomed in now.
We can do a really quick topic?
Yeah, let's do a
There's a whole
quick
bunch
one.
of them.
We have a whole lot of those.
We can recover the Dell 24-inch monitors.
Yeah, the Dell 24-inch monitor. Where is that?
So, while he finds it, the Dell 24-inch 4K monitor that we talked about last stream that was like super, super top-of-the-line baller and didn't have a price released has had its price release. It'll be $1,400. And they also released information about 2 other models. That's awesome because I actually thought it might be more than that. They released information about 2 other models, one of which is a 28-inch version, which is not the ultra sharp kind of class monitor that the 24-inch is, but it's still a 4K model and it's in 28 inches. That'll be $1,000, even cheaper than the 24-inch.
I'm actually not interested in that one at all.
I still want the ultra
If
sharp.
I'm gonna drop $1,000 on a monitor, then I'm gonna drop $1,400 on one that doesn't suck.
I don't think it'll suck, but it won't be ultra sharp.
It's TN.
Is it TN?
Didn't you say it was TN? Okay, hold on. Might not be TN.
All I knew was that it wasn't an ultra sharp.
Oh, okay. I thought you had told me it was TN. Okay, if it's not TN, then maybe we can still talk.
I'm not entirely sure what it is.
Because if it was like a TN $1,000 monitor, then that's just ridiculous. I mean, if it's VA or something, then we'll talk.
And then there's a 32-inch model that is still an ultra sharp model, which is $3,500. But like, yeah. It's a 32-inch 4K.
Oh, I'm so excited. It's been so long since Dell has flexed their muscles in terms of, leading the market in monitors, and I'm really, really excited about this. So this was posted by You Better Not on the forum, and honestly, the 24-inch at $1,400, it makes sense that that's the one that they leaked and started talking about, because that's the one that I'm extremely excited about.
It's still too much. I'm not buying in, but it's in that range where I'll see people start doing it. And like it's in the range where maybe we can start getting 4K benchmarks sooner than I thought we might be. Like maybe not this monitor, but there's probably going to be competitors and stuff.
Because it's been kind of hilarious for a while, where it's just like monitors have gone from being valuable and important to just being this totally commodity, just like crappy, stupid thing. But it wasn't that long ago that people invested in, like high-end gamers invested in high-end monitors. Now, I think that someone somewhere expected 4K at $3,000+ to be that thing again.
Yeah.
But that was never going to happen. I mean, I remember having a conversation with AMD where they were saying, well, 290X is designed for 4K, and, we think that someone buying this card will buy a 4K monitor. I was like, well, no.
No.
They'll buy that card, and then they'll run it on their 1080p monitor, their 2.5K monitor, until they can afford a 4K monitor. And I think $1,000 plus or minus is that magic price point where someone will do it.
Someone will do it.
The guy with the crazy desk PC that has $1,000 worth of liquid cooling in it will probably do it.
Yeah. It's not like I'm not going to see too many of these in build logs, except for like the crazy ones.
Yeah. But at least it'll show up in a build log. I still haven't seen a build log with a 4K monitor.
No.
At all.
I love the PC Master Race idea. I love Reddit/PC Master Race, whatever. But the rah 4K that goes on a lot there is not really a thing too much.
Well, Okay, hold on. I don't necessarily agree with that because I think that
We're going to have the availability and it's going to be the option and the console's going to stay the same forever. Yes,
we're
but
gonna
no
have
one's
an
really,
option way sooner than the console, guys.
The only thing I don't like in it is I'm over here running 4K while you run your 720p. And
Well,
it's like,
no.
well, no, you're probably not.
That's like saying I'm over here running Oculus when you're not yet. Oculus is coming and it's going to be amazing, but it's not actually there yet.
Yeah, but like it's coming, we will have the option. That is very cool.
Yeah, all about the options.
Pretty stoked.
Oh, and it has a built-in card reader.
Hooray! Mine does too. I actually kind of like that.
There doesn't seem to be any word on whether it will support a single DisplayPort cable driving the entire thing. But to be clear, guys, DisplayPort 1.3 does have enough bandwidth for 4K over one cable, but so far the Asus and the Sharp models require two cables, and then they're using like a goofy split down the middle and tiled monitor sort of implementation that really just isn't as good.
No.
As having the whole panel be one thing. So I really hope that this one, so it says it has HDMI in, DisplayPort, and mini DisplayPort inputs. And I hope that with DisplayPort and mini DisplayPort, it's able to just take a single input for the full 4K. Ah, so exciting. All right, let's do maybe one more quick one, and then we'll bring on Barnacules.
Sure. What quick one do you want to do?
Let's do console sales. Holy balls. Well, particularly PS4.
So PS4 beat out the fastest selling console in the UK, which used to be the PSP at 185,000 in 48 hours, and they got 250,000 plus, which is like pretty beast. And that was 66% higher than Xbox One at 150,000, which is just ownage.
I mean, when I was looking this up, I fully didn't expect the PS4 to be beating it.
I was unsure, and then that scale is insane. Oh god.
I was sitting here, but while you were talking, I wasn't even listening to you at all. I was just trying to figure out a way to say that.
Oh.
So anyway, the PS4 has not only sold more within 48 hours than the PSP did in the UK. In the UK, just to be clear, we're talking UK numbers. It has sold more than Wii U lifetime.
That number being at 2.1 million units as of December 1st.
Again in the UK, which is just such a sad thing, such a very sad thing.
Pretty ridiculous. I don't know if that 2.1 million unit one is as of UK.
I mean, honestly, the thing about the PlayStation 4 is that it actually represents a fairly compelling value. I mean, we're not huge console gamers by any stretch of the imagination at all.
Any stretch of the imagination.
I know, but we did our console image quality comparison, and we did play around with the image quality of a PC versus Xbox One versus PS4 versus Xbox 360, and I think you and I both agreed that PlayStation 4 came out as a pretty reasonable value.
Yeah, the same thing though is that computer that we had was upgradable.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, there's all the usual PC arguments, but then there's all the usual console arguments. Well, okay, but I can get resistance. Or, okay, but I can just put a disc in it and I can sit down on my couch and I can play.
After you wait for the download.
After you wait for the download and the patch. I mean, it's amazing how much more like PC gaming consoles becoming all the time. Like, every day.
When we're doing those image quality comparisons, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to move to the next console, put the disc in. Oh, I have to wait for like a huge download. It's like, oh, no way.
Absolutely brilliant. My goodness, I didn't change the title of the show.
Pre-show test stream.
WAN show live now. That's probably... Oh, and I'm playing Assassin's Creed, apparently, which I'm not playing. All right, so let's go ahead and let's bring in Barnacules, shall we?
All right, give me one quick second.
All right, awesome.
It looks like he's ready to go.
I'm going to go ahead and change over our lower third here. Boom.
Oh, he told me, too, that the title was wrong.
Hi, Barnacules. Welcome to the show.
I feel welcome. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. So why don't you take just a moment here and explain to the nice viewers what exactly you do and how they can find you if they like your appearance on the show today and they actually want to hear you say more things, but no pressure.
All right, well, this should be pretty easy and straightforward. Guys, I've been a software developer at Microsoft for 15 years. That's my official day job. I also dabble in some offline development with Opulent Studios, a little side company I have develops for Windows Phone. But my hobby and what I'm really passionate about is creating YouTube videos. So I've been doing that for about 2 years now. Been having a hell of a time with it. But huge tech enthusiast. If you guys don't know who I am, go ahead and check me out. I'm over at barnnerd.com, like a barn where you put your cows and your horses, and nerd. Well, you figure that one out. But I have a lot of fun with the YouTube thing. It's just amazing the people that you find online and the people you encounter, especially like Linus and Slick here. I mean, there's a hell of a lot of nerds out there, and I'm honored to be on the show, guys.
Cool. Well, welcome. I think probably the first thing for us to do is kick off with our first guest topic here. So that is DisplayPort 1.3 is coming. So let's go ahead and show the nice viewers what we got here. This was posted by CDNA on the forum, who says, I just came across this article. The original article is from Bright Side of News, so we're going to go ahead and make sure we're giving credit where credit is due here. Boom. But there's a lot of extremely exciting stuff to share about DisplayPort 1.3, but because Slick has it on his screen and I have mine covered up by this article, he's going to go ahead and tell you the bullet points here.
So a lot of this is speculation and rumor, yada, 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 but it's maybe coming in quarter 2 of 2014. You're able to push 8K resolutions and 3D 4K. There's going to be some limits in like cable size, and you might need repeaters if you want to
Cable length, to be clear.
Cable length, sorry. And you might need repeaters if you want to go very far at all. And they're unknown if it's going to be the same connector, so there's a few things going around there, but we're seeing bit rates going up for 5.4 gigabits per second in DisplayPort 1.2. Now we're in DisplayPort 1.3, so it's 8.1 gigabits per second, which is pretty beast. You'll notice that unlike 1.1 to 1.2, where we saw like a doubling in performance, isn't quite a doubling, and that's because we might be getting close to the limits of copper bandwidth. And you had something to show for that?
No, not really.
You had the link to Larry's USB cable thing.
Oh, let me find that. Okay, so Barnacules, let's hear your take on why is HDMI even a thing anymore? Like, why? So we've got royalty-free DisplayPort.
I think I just heard him say he doesn't care about the DisplayPort thing, so he might.
I don't have a DisplayPort in my fancy new projector, and I don't even have a 4K display yet. So it's like 8K isn't terribly useful to me at this point. I mean, at some point it might become relevant, but I find it, funny that people are already speculating about the next version of DisplayPort being able to support 8K when it's like I can't even buy a 4K screen right now without like emptying my wallet and doing, a broke dance.
Okay, well, let's talk about this then. Let's talk about not necessarily how superior DisplayPort is. Let's talk about how inferior and crappy HDMI is, because HDMI is holding us back now, whereas DisplayPort has been capable of the things that we have now for a long time. So, okay, let's say you can't afford a 4K display. Can you afford one of those Korean 2.5K displays that are like $300?
Oh, absolutely. I got one sitting right in front of me.
Right. HDMI, no bueno, because you can only handle 1080 60p. Whereas DisplayPort has been able to handle that and 4K for a long time now. I think the thing that I am happy about here is the fact that DisplayPort is still pushing forward, whereas HDMI 2.0 is also still coming, not released yet.
And it pushed to like where we're at.
And it's catching up. It's like, okay, well, we can do 4K 60p now. And that is it. That is all. Don't worry about the future. We will have HDMI 6 or something. We're not sure what to do.
Well, no, I think that's a fair assessment. I think that HDMI does have some serious limitations, but for me personally, I mean, where HDMI isn't a factor that I can use, I usually just revert back over to DVI because it's usually on my computer. It's not like my entertainment system's 4K yet. And also, I just like the compatibility of it. I mean, not all my devices have DisplayPort on it. I mean, it's actually kind of a rarity on some of the stuff. I think once it becomes more mainstream and everything has it, it'll be something that I accept a little bit more. But chances are when they come out the next version, it's just going to probably have a different connector on it, too. Hopefully it doesn't. Please make a different connector. I'm getting sick of that with the whole USB thing.
Yeah.
I hope not too. I mean, if it's still a copper cable, I would hope it's still the same connector. The only reason I can see for them to move to a different connector would be if they want it to not be interoperable. Like if they move to an optical cable or something like that, or if they have to have, an active cable and then they need a new connector that specifically powers the active cable. That's
part of the reason why they think it might be a different connector is because to get beyond these probably short lengths, they might need something else going on, which is why there might be
There's always something, right?
With that said, we've got Thunderbolt 20 gigabit, and those are active cables that don't necessarily require
a different
connector, but it was probably designed for that in the first place, so it's hard to say.
We'll see. It's still like maybe coming in Q2 2014, and everything here is rumors, but like pretty accurate.
Well,
probably.
I'll tell you one thing. If the rumor is true, and they actually do produce the 8K technology and we actually start seeing some 8K native panels coming out, all it can do is push down the cost of 4K, and I'm all for that. So let them make all the 8K stuff they want. I mean, as long as it drives 4K down into a realm where now I can go get a 4K projector and it doesn't cost $20,000, hey, rock on. I'm happy.
You know, it's a really good point you're making about 4K projector, because 4K is one of those things where for the desktop PC, I feel like it makes sense, because you can really use the extra real estate and the extra pixel perfect clarity on text. Really, that's what it's about to me, because I find for gaming, 2560 by 1600 is a really great experience. You throw 2x anti-aliasing on it even, maybe 4x, you're having a fantastic gaming experience. Someone says 1440p is possible with HDMI. Yeah, if you want to run at 30 frames per second, good for you. Okay, so whatever. Gaming experience is great at 2560 by 1600. So I don't necessarily see the value from a pure gaming perspective, but to me, it's about text and about screen real estate, being able to have things be crystal clear and be small and be able to manage them and move them around. I also see the value on a projector, where you're going to have an extremely large display and the extra detail is going to be very, very helpful. Whereas for something like a 55-inch TV, why?
Absolutely. I have a
can't.
projector in my bedroom and a 92-inch screen.
Yeah.
And when I stand within 3 feet of it at 1080p, I can clearly see each and every pixel. I mean, I can point them out with a stick. So it does make sense to have that super high resolution. But I can tell you, even at that experience with a 92-inch screen, when I'm standing 12 feet away, I can't make out individual pixels. And I got 20/15 vision. So it's not like I'm blind, but
right.
So it's like when 8K comes out, it's like, yeah, that'll be awesome if I, can build that fancy palatial mansion I wanted with a 300-inch screen. Then yeah, bring it on. But 4K definitely. If I had a 4K 46-inch screen sitting in front of me instead of a 1080p panel, it would be huge, especially for software development, because then I could essentially split my screen into 4 quadrants and still have that same resolution and still see that text.
Yeah, that's gonna be friggin' awesome. I'm super excited for that. Okay, sorry, I've got this now. This is the amazing USB cable
muted.
that can. Yeah, I know this sounds muted.
I gotta see this.
Yeah, this is like a miracle USB cable. So there's like a band or something. It's the Lightspeed USB cable. So this is.
Ooh, Lightspeed.
Yeah. So. Okay, this text underneath here is kind of awesome. Larry Ho, founder and president of Light Harmonic, is a self-described tube lover and vinyl file, which may seem odd since he's the founder of our all-digital company. You may be surprised, therefore, to find out that before he founded Light Harmonic, he worked as the executive vice president of a leading USB integrated circuit company. Don't bother telling us who it is. I guess it doesn't matter. Actually, wait, that would be really important. He and his team of over 150 electronic engineers. Something, USB 2 audio class standard developed, the DSP, etc., etc., etc. Why is this even here? Okay, so he's holding the cable now. So this is a very special USB cable. Okay, it has like it's coiled up. He's holding it. Okay, no, I want to show you the really special one. So this USB cable, check this out. Okay, so they separate data. Okay, see this? They actually separate data and power because, the interference and all that. And this gives the Lightspeed USB cable 20 times the bandwidth of USB 2.0. 10 gigabits per second bandwidth is twice as fast as USB 3. Additionally, its 2-in-1 architecture physically separates the signal leg from the 5-volt power leg, preventing source-generated noise from disturbing the digital signal. The result? A bit-perfect USB cable.
So the obvious question I have is, why couldn't they just improve upon the shielding? I mean, why can't I just have a cable that's like 1.5 inches thick that's just filled with shielding? Why do I have to have it spaced out that far?
Why do they need more shielding?
I don't know. We're dealing with very low voltage. I mean, I honestly don't know how it could make any difference, but...
Rated bandwidth.
Wow.
Like, how do you measure 10 gigabit per second rated bandwidth on a USB 2 cable? And, like, I love how they're comparing. They're comparing the rated bandwidth with the USB 2 standard. not with whatever test they're using to measure their bandwidth on their cable, putting a USB 2 cable in it and seeing what that's capable of, because I suspect that it's going to have no impact whatsoever, because that's not actually how these
I
things
think
work.
he's selling snake oil here, guys. I mean, seriously, look, the wires are basically touching each other going all the way into the connector, and they're separated 3 inches out. I mean, it's like I'm thinking this is more, you know the audio files. I know I'm going to offend the hell out of audio files right now, but you know the audio files are like, oh my god, if you spend $1,000 on an optical cable, it'll have no digital jitter, and you won't be able to hear the photons. You know, with that 126,000 mile per second or whatever boundary, blah blah blah. No, I think this is that same thing. Yeah, your cable looks awesome. People are going to look at it and go, "Oh my god, what does that do for you?" That's about it.
Okay, this is one of Edsel's favorite things. Okay, so get this. We're gonna. I feel bad because audiophiles are nice people, but
sometimes
this review.
Oh, I am too. I've got 10 pairs of headphones. I mean, ranging like way up over $1,000, and I honestly sometimes can't tell the difference.
I mean, to be clear,
horrible.
guys, audiophile means you love audio. It doesn't mean that you have to be a jerk about it. Okay, so this is a review of
Preach on, Linus.
Anju speaker cables. Okay, so these are super fancy cables. I think they're like hundreds or thousands of dollars, something ridiculous like that. And this is a quote from the review. In extended listening sessions, I found the cable's greatest strength to be its PRT. Simply put, these are very danceable cables. Music playing through them results in the proverbial foot-tapping scene with the need or desire to get up and move. Great swing and pace. These cables smack that right on the nose big time. In this area, they are simply way better than anything else I have heard prior to their addition. Danceable cables, really?
Dude, I want to buy them after reading that. I mean, I'll be reviewing those next week, guys.
I've got someone asking what IEMs I'm wearing. These are Sennheiser IE80s. I'm actually going to have a review coming of them shortly. I'm super excited to do the review because I super like them. So I always get more excited about.
They make
doing
you look like
reviews
you
of
need a
stuff I like.
guitar.
I love these Custom One Pros. I just think the cable isn't danceable enough.
Danceable enough, I know. Well, you know what? These cables, they were danceable, and then they got like tangled in my feet, and I fell, and the danceability of them went down a lot.
You weren't
Well,
quite
guys,
footloose.
just remember, copper's no good anymore. It has to be pure silver cable because that makes the treble sound better.
You know what's the really funny thing about that is that USB 2 10 gigabit per second cable is copper. It's not. They didn't even bother to put any money into manufacturing it.
Not even interested unless it's pure silver.
Gotta be
Copper
pure
just
silver
doesn't
cable.
work.
All right, so you might have a little bit of contribution to make to this. This is kind of an interesting topic. Let's go ahead and screen share here. Flying hacker contraption hunts other drones, turns them into zombies. Slick, do you wanna sort of kick us off on this one?
I thought this was fantastic, and there's different ways of looking at this because it would have happened no matter what. So the guy that did it released all of his stuff, so everyone knows how it happened and can start building protection. So that's one way to do it in a good way. So how it works is you fly your drone, which has, I believe, a Raspberry Pi strapped to it, and a USB battery pack, and a little like Wi-Fi antenna, so you can grab Wi-Fi networks easily. And you fly it near another drone, and then attack it. Disconnect the other user, connect yourself, and then steal the drone, which is kind of incredible. And with all the stuff going around about like the new shipping drones in China and Amazon's drones and just people generally being more and more interested in drones, it's actually pretty interesting. Because there's like pretty much no security on them right now. Because who would have really thought that would be a huge issue? But then now, like I just said with Amazon, yada yada, it is becoming a huge issue, and it's kind of incredible how well this thing works. So,
yeah, he does a demo of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pull up the Ars Technica article again here. Let me see if they have the video embedded in it. Yep, they do. So I'm just gonna skip ahead a little bit here, but we're gonna walk you through sort of the process. So
there might be sound.
No, there's no sound.
Right.
So here he is talking. Oh, is the demo? I thought the demo was at the end.
No, it's gonna be right in.
Yeah, here he is. Okay, so he grabs the drone. Okay, something.
I think he shows what he puts on it,
etc. All right.
So he's talking about. I think it's a Raspberry Pi. There we go.
There we go.
Go back a little bit.
Here we go. Okay, so he has another drone in the room. So to be clear, guys, this is a Parrot AR drone. This is just a consumer-grade fun device. So I don't think we're expecting any kind of a drone that gets approved for commercial use to not have any protection on it whatsoever. But basically what he does is he's running this right here, and he is taking over the other drone.
So what he first does is he finds it, disconnects the original user, connects himself, and then takes over.
And then he's got it set up so that the drone will just follow his drone because it has a camera, so it knows where to go.
So what do you think about it, Barnacules?
Oh my God, don't even get me started. Actually, go ahead and get me started. I actually have a Parrot AR drone, and I absolutely love it. It's really cool. But the way it works in a nutshell is it just connects up to your Wi-Fi network, and all of the data and commands are just transported over that network.
Yep.
So all he's doing with that Raspberry Pi is just basically disconnecting it from one wireless network, connecting it to his, and then going, hey, I'm the controller, follow me.
Yep.
And it's funny because it reminds me of the really old RC technology. Like, I used to be really into RC airplanes and helicopters, and I remember the number one cardinal rule was you always had to check in your crystal, which was the frequency you're operating on, at the field before you started, because if you made the complete boner of pulling out your controller and putting the wrong crystal in it, all of a sudden you're flying some other dude's plane. And so this is kind of like the more high-tech version of that, and I could see them just, defeating this with a little bit of encryption.
Yeah.
But it still just cracks me up that, it took this long for somebody just to figure out, wait a second, all these devices, and it's not just those drones. Think about it. Things like the Belkin Wemo switches and stuff like that, a lot of stuff operates on wireless networks, and every single one of them has to be able to issue a command to disconnect and connect to another network. So I'm going to see this. This now is happening with drones. You wait. This is going to be happening with every single 802.11 connected device at some point.
Yep. And
and it's probably easier just to shoot them down with BB guns. That too.
Yeah. That I'm actually kind of scared about, but I think we'll talk about that later because of bullet drop and stuff. But anyways, my thing about this was I think it didn't happen until now because there wasn't a ton, like you couldn't just go fly around the city and find someone else with an AR drone very easily. I think it happened now more because of all the announcements of like that company in China that wants to do shipment drones, and Amazon that wants to do shipment drones, and all the different shipping companies that want to do shipment drones, and blah 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 blah. So,
and the other thing that kind of raises a concern too is you just assume that like military and commercial, like you said, the commercial aircraft will have a lot more protection. Well, that might be the truth now, but before this was considered a threat, who knows how many other stuff that's in operation out there right now simply just doesn't have any encryption or anything because there's really not a precedent for it.
And like this guy released all of his stuff online and everyone can see it working, all that kind of stuff, but how many people developed this before him and kept it secret?
Yeah,
and the other thing is, look how cheap it is to do. I mean, I think including the drone, it's $400. It's less than $200 for the hardware to outfit your drone to do this. And the other thing is, think about the other applications. Don't just go take over other drones. Go take over and jam other people's networks. Yeah. Next time you guys get DDoSed, it might be by somebody's Parrot AR drone hanging outside your building. I mean, you don't know.
Yeah, thanks
true.
For giving people that idea.
Absolutely, anytime.
Brilliant. All right, so this is an article. I mean, you're a fellow YouTuber, so I'm sure that you think that YouTube's implementation of Google Plus comments versus the old YouTube comments was seamless and excellent and great for the community and for creators in every possible way. Does that sound about right?
If by that you mean I want to stab them and burn them and laugh and giggle over their corpses, yes. Yes, that's exactly what that means.
So this is an article from PCMag.com. YouTube admits Google Plus comment integration boosted spam. I mean, that's like a farmer admitting that he probably shoveled horse poo at some point. Like, it's the most obvious thing in the world, but at least they're acknowledging it. What's your take on what they did and then what they've done to improve it so far?
All right. Well, in the beginning, the thing that really perplexed me was, how am I getting so much spam in my stream, but comments like, hey, Barnacules, you're awesome, or Barnacules, hey, awesome job and stuff? Why are those the spam comments? It seemed like their whole spam system was broken to begin with.
Yeah.
And then after that, we started seeing Bob. Everybody knows Bob now, I'm sure, on a first name basis. But, then he starts spamming across the internet. Of course, they can't put that to a stop. But the one thing I did notice, like, if there was one good thing to come out of it, and I'm actually, like, playing devil's advocate to myself here, because I actually like trolls personally. Trolls actually entertain me. They're a large part of my YouTube channel and coming up, and I have a fun beating them down. But at the same time, where did all the trolls go? Google Plus came into play, and now I can't find my trolls. Everybody's kind of being, like, nice. And I don't know. It makes it so hard to sleep at night.
Honestly, the thing that's driven me craziest is whenever you go to a video and then all the top comments are just like some dude and his buddies talking on Google Plus about like whatever because he posted a video and then they all talk about their personal lives, and it's like, I don't want to read this.
And the thing that bothers me most, I think, is the fact that Google prioritizes so high above everyone else the people who are commenting on the Google Plus posting of the video.
Yeah.
So my initial post and then the comments that are under that, because of people happen to use Google Plus and happen to follow me there, those ones are getting a much higher priority than anything else, even if they're totally irrelevant and have nothing to do with anything, because this is Google's way of just cramming Google Plus down our throats. And I don't like Google Plus. I don't find it easy to use. I can't think of a compelling reason why I would ask anyone else to use it. This is something that I'll be mentioning in my Nexus 5 review, but again, cramming Google Plus down my throat. Where are my Twitter notifications, Google?
Well,
my Twitter notification settings just don't work.
Really?
Yeah, whereas Google Plus comes through every time.
No, Google Plus was a failure on their part. Their launch to try to compete with Facebook and everything, it was a total and utter failure. So what better way to force it down your throat and turn it into success than to take the one thing you can't live without and force it on you? I mean, that's exactly what they did.
I think the thing that's most baffling to me is the fact that the implementation was so stupid. I mean, the fact that they would allow people to copy-paste entire novels into... I mean, YouTube had this figured out years ago. That's why we had a 500-character limit.
And why were features coming on like daily? That was the other thing I didn't get, is like, I don't know what their development cycle is like that over there, but being a software developer myself, usually have things like sprints and stuff where it's like you figure stuff out for a little bit before you go and cram it down people's throats. I was literally logging into YouTube every day and seeing a new feature. Like they didn't even let like feature A boil for 24 hours for feature B and feature C. And sometimes it was changes to the same feature within 24 hours.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not cool. I mean, they basically turned their entire YouTube, like the largest media outlet on the planet, into a beta testing pit.
Yep.
But they've always kind of been like that.
It seems
but they've never really operated at that scale, I didn't think. I mean, YouTube's kind of, I don't know, that's a whole different world and a whole different scale. It's like
but they've always done this on YouTube. It's like, here's a new layout. Boom.
Yep.
Might not work
hey, everybody
for
that works so
with...
hard to make their channels look cool. Take it away.
That's still frustrating to me. We have like really cool channel designs, particularly for Tech Quickie, that just we don't get to use anymore. My wife was looking at our channel the other day. She was like, this doesn't look very good. And then she was looking at someone else's, and she was like, this one looks a lot better. The layout's a lot better. And I'm like, oh, are you subscribed to that one? And she's like, no. And I'm like, yeah, when you're subscribed, instead of actually seeing the video that I put on my channel and it being big, it's like a little tiny video, what to watch next. And then it's like crap that you already watched. It's like, thanks for that, I guess.
Well, it's like, I mean, I feel you, because I worked a year to get a feature turned on, and then everybody just gets it. And then I, get another feature turned on. Everybody gets it now. It's like, it just, I don't know, it kind of invalidates your work a little bit.
Yeah.
Try not to sound too snobbish there, but it's like, yeah, you work so hard to get those things unlocked, and it's like, it's like you being on Xbox Live. It's like you unlock every achievement, and then the next day they come out and they're like, okay, we're just gonna unlock all the achievements by default for everybody. Have fun.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you might have unlocked the dog achievement in like Call of Duty 2, but now the new game is just gonna have dogs for all.
Exactly.
It's still the number one selling game in the UK.
Is it?
Yeah, one of the articles I was looking at, it's it's at the top of the charts, Call of Duty Ghosts or whatever this stupid thing is called. Okay, so speaking of the terrible spam filtration, let's go over to my screen for a minute here, where I just pulled up one of my videos, and I've actually had some people complaining to me that I was deleting their comments. When they were legitimate comments questioning something about what I was doing, or they were just other random comments. Linus, why am I blocked from your channel? Why are you deleting my comments? Okay, so check this out. Automatic spam detection, which I actually can't control. Okay, so here's one that's a link to a store, so that might be spam. Here's someone complaining about how much it costs. That's not spam. Here's someone saying, too bad Germany has had this a long time. The US is always last to get it. How is that spam? There was a modder selling the same thing years ago. How is that spam? These are all useful contributions to the conversation.
Yep.
Seeing people with replies.
Look at this. Isn't this ridiculous? None of this is spam. You should
No, it's so broken. It's horrible, man. I got a comment the other day that just said, Barnacules, I hope you're feeling better. How the hell is that spam?
That's ridiculous.
And then I hit OK to approve it, and then I don't have a reply button. That, I mean, you need to be able to reply. Why can you only reply to some people, not others? I don't get that. That drives me crazy.
And look at this.
I think that's if people post on Google Plus, you can reply to them.
Yep. It's driving me crazy because
Oh
people
my
will ask
God,
me
really?
questions, not realizing I can't answer them.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's my problem, too. They're like, oh, hey, what graphics card would you recommend buying? And I'm like, well, if I could find that reply button, maybe I'd give you a suggestion. Probably not,
Yeah.
though.
So, yeah, so 41 comments marked as spam, out of which probably 2 of them might be spam.
Negative 14 comments marked as spam.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, I hope
Awesome.
they're not using the same spam filter as they are on the Google search engine, because if so, you're missing out on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's really frustrating to me because I can't even turn that off. I don't have a setting to just turn it off because I don't
Well,
want
you do have a setting where you can add them. Did you see
Yeah, I
the
saw
setting under
that.
social? Yeah,
Yeah.
I added a bunch of stuff under there, and it didn't work. Like half the stuff still got through. I was like, okay, I just give up.
block all the helpful
It's Google.
contributions
They're gonna force
to the
us to use it.
conversation. Like, don't block any of the stuff.
Don't block Bob.
Yeah, don't block Bob because whatever.
Because his tank.
Yeah.
Because his tank. I love how they release this thing. They're like, oh yeah, we're adding a better algorithms to stop ASCII art. And I like go check out some YouTube video. It's like, upvote Bob and his tank. I'm like, what?
How hard is it to filter ASCII art? Oh my God! Just don't grab any character over 128 and we're golden. Like, really, it's not that hard, folks.
And the other thing too is the way that their spam filter works is by word. I was like, okay, well, can I enter the tank into the spam? Nope. Can I enter Bob's army? Nope.
No, what you can do, I did stop Bob.
And I'm not going to filter Bob. Why would I filter the word Bob? Someone might be legitimately talking about someone named Bob, so I don't want to do that.
I know he might be your uncle. You never know.
Oh,
Lols.
that was like that was around your level.
Terrible. I love it. All right, well, let's do a Twitter blitz for Barnacules here. Guys, if you have any questions for Barnacules, hit up the @LinusTech Twitter handle, that one right there, and we're going to have him blitz through them for you. So I should probably go ahead and put this here and put that there and go ahead and do the Twitter. In the meantime, let's take some of the random questions we've gotten on Twitter over the last little bit. All right, have you done any videos on Crossfire versus SLI? Not really, actually. On the Nexus 5, Twitter notifications work fine, but I don't get thousands every day. Yeah, the problem is that a lot of them don't come through. Some of them do. So people that I follow, I see my mentions from them, but I'm not getting my mentions from anyone that I don't follow. So that's pretty interesting to me. I'm looking to get my first mechanical keyboard. I'm about to spend very max 200. I would recommend waiting maybe a little bit, or no, because I heard the RGB ones aren't coming for a while.
Oh, okay.
Your first mechanical keyboard? Seriously?
And like very max
The
200.
great Linus? Oh my God.
No, not my first
What is
one.
this?
He's talking about someone on Twitter.
Someone on Twitter.
And $200 max for a mechanical keyboard includes like everything.
Jonathan will
Well,
be
I
talking
use-
about drones a little bit more later.
Well, as far as keyboards, I have 4 mechanical keyboards, and they're all DOS keyboards. But really, I've used quite a few different keyboards with mechanical switches, and they're all pretty good. I haven't found any I would say are bad.
What is Logan talking about?
Apparently, you're getting an Indian burn.
Oh yeah, because I've been posting links to his old Tiger Direct videos. Did you see the stand-up comedy one? Oh, it's so good. It's amazing. Here, Tiger. I told him I'd stop doing it, but I'm just gonna do it. Tiger band.
Logan, I'll film the
commercial.
Indian burn. If you're watching this, I will.
I want to
happily
see a video
film
of him
it.
just full on tackle you. I think that'd be
Okay,
awesome.
hold on. We need audio for that.
I'd be down to film that
I
as well.
hate this laptop. Okay. Please, just don't be horrible. I think I muted this. Okay, hold on.
Oh god, we have no idea how loud this is gonna be.
Here we go.
I'm going to the Twitch chats.
Hi. So I went online to tiger.com and picked up a camera made of cheese. That way I don't have to say anything. Also at tiger.com I picked up a laptop. So big I call it a body top.
Quiet, folks. He's concentrating.
A CPU, a motherboard, and a graphics card walk into a bar. Bartender looked at him and says,
I can't read lips.
"Sorry, fellas, we don't do water cooling."
Tiger.com. Not funny, but great prices. Check out the largest
I don't
selection
think
of
Barnacules
PCs,
could do
TVs,
that.
and more.
Yeah, I don't think Barnacules could hear. Don't worry, Barnacules. Everyone else could hear, so it was all good. But anyway, Logan apparently doesn't like me sharing his old Tiger videos. All right, so we have some Q&A for Barnacules now. So Barnacules, this is how Twitter Blitz works. I read the question, you answer it as quickly as you can. Of your 10 headphones, which of them is your favorite?
HD 800 Sennheiser.
All right. Wow, you have HD 800s? Very nice.
Sweet.
I'm looking
I
for...
do.
Okay, that's kind of a long question. All right. Something. Someone's asking if you're an anonymous. So let's not address that. No. Okay. I'm still without mechanical. Ah, yes. Barnacules, do you still use your 3 50-inch TVs as monitors?
They're actually 46-inch, and yes, I use them every single day.
Very nice.
Epic.
And I wish they were 50s.
Cyber Husky asks, are either of us planning to leave YouTube? I'm certainly not. Barnacules, are you planning to leave YouTube?
Only if Google keeps this crap up.
What are you going to do, though? Because it's very difficult to take your audience with you.
Vimeo.
Yeah, right.
Well, I don't know. I just figure I'll just shut down shop and, I don't know, quit my job, move to Mexico. No, I'm not leaving YouTube. Come on, guys. Seriously. I love it. It's fun.
Mexico.
What's your take on smartwatches?
Smartwatches? I ordered a Pebble and it still hasn't arrived. I think I need to contact them.
Okay, it's awesome. When it does arrive, it's awesome.
Okay, cool.
What are your personal rig specs?
Oh, sorry. I missed that.
Personal rig specs.
Oh, my personal rig stacks. 3930K overclocked to 4.6 per core, 32 gigs RAM, 2 SSDs. I got a new 1 gig SSD on the way, 4 WD Black 750s, and RAID 0, 2 360 rads, really heavy pump. Can't remember. It's an OC Cool pump. Other than that, I mean, that's,
yeah, other
that's
than
pretty
that,
much what matters. 2680 for the
guess
win
there's,
editions.
some dust on the fan or something.
Oh, I have no cable management. The thing looks absolutely... Everybody wants to shoot me because I got this really cool computer and I put it together like a 5-year-old. But come on, it works. I'm here.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Someone wants to ask what's it like working for Microsoft, but I think I know enough about that answer to know that you probably shouldn't talk about it. You should not blame
Well,
Google
all
for...
I can say is I've been there 15 years, so obviously there must be something good. Otherwise, I wouldn't have worked there for 15 years.
Someone says, no question, but just wanted to say you're one of the best guests on the WAN show. Thanks for being on the show. That's from I Am Severide on Twitter, so that's a cool thing to say.
I love you, sir. I'm going to come and give you a hug.
That didn't get filtered
promise
by
not
YouTube.
to...
Yeah.
What's that?
All right, so last question from Austin is, what's it like to be a software developer? I want to be a software/computer engineer, but I'd like to know what the workload's like.
The workload is insane. You will never, ever hit a milestone, no matter how hard you try. And you'll drink a lot of coffee. When your wife goes to sleep, you'll go to sleep 4 hours after she does, and you'll wake up 2 hours before she does. But other than that, it's actually pretty cool.
Other than that. It's like, well, I walked to school uphill both ways, and I dig ditches
ADHD
on
is
the
an
way.
absolute requirement.
ADHD.
Yeah,
All
if you
right,
don't have ADHD, don't even try. Go do something else.
Thank you very, very much for joining us on the show, Barnacules. Why don't you do a quick sort of, hey, this is me, this is where you find me if you thought I was interesting once more, and then we'll sign off.
Oh, awesome. Well, guys, thanks for having me on here. I really appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun. This is by far the largest audience I've ever had. I've been on other tech shows like Jay's 2 Cents and stuff like that and had a blast, and this has been no different. I hope someday I get to come back. Anyways, guys, I am at http://barnnerd.com. You know where you put your cows in the barn? Yeah, I don't know why I keep saying that. Anyways, come check me out. Follow me on Twitter at Barnacules. If you thought I was interesting, and if you absolutely hate me and you think I'm the stupidest guest that's ever been on the show, come follow me anyways and tell me about it because I love trolls. All right, guys, it's been a blast. Take it easy.
All right, take care.
See ya.
Okay, so
User was moved out of your channel.
hope I emailed myself
User
the
disconnected
thing that I
from
need
your
here.
channel.
Let's go ahead and, yeah, apparently I did. WAN show lower third, gonna download this. I had thought I had done this before the show, but apparently I did not. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that where it's supposed to go, which is on the desktop. Why don't you do a rapid fire topic in the meantime? Go.
I'm nowhere near any rapid fire topics.
Well, you
That's
should
not
be
a
more
rapid
prepared.
fire topic.
Because
That's not a
apparently
rapid
the
fire
lack of
topic.
preparation here was your fault.
This is not... No, okay. Black Friday was kind of nuts. We know that. There was 15 injuries and 1 death this year. But just to add to that, there was tons of huge protests, which were protesting against stores like Walmart and chains like McDonald's. And there was a massive amount of arrests at these protests as
Over
well.
110 arrested as record Black Friday protests challenge Walmart and major retailers on low wages. So this is from democracynow.org. So in addition to the protests, there was, I believe, 1 death this year, 15 injuries, and then 110 arrests. So another successful
Black Friday. Heartwarming community pulling together Black Friday.
I mean, the whole, I don't know what to say.
Shop online, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, shop online, exactly. I don't know what to say about the whole wages argument with stores like Walmart, because people are upset and yet they work there. People
They might not be
are
able to get
upset
job.
and yet they shop there.
Yeah. The shop there thing, the work there thing, they might not be able to get another job.
Yeah, there might not be another option.
Because the store coming in might have closed down so many stores around it that there's not enough jobs.
But everyone has, the option to shop somewhere else.
Yes.
Unless they don't,
Unless they
because
can
they
afford
work
it.
at Walmart and they don't make enough money. So how do we ever address this? If you're not willing to pay more,
There's minimum wage laws.
Yes.
Which is what they're fighting for, I believe. And they're fighting against Walmart firing people illegally.
Okay, that's a big problem. But the whole minimum wage laws things, I mean, we had a minimum wage hike here not that long ago, and it hasn't done anything to address the constant increase in cost of living. I mean, it
wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough.
They're talking, I believe it was in this article, it might be a different one, about how they would need a wage increase to $15 an hour. And, that's probably not going to happen because it's probably not quite, but a little bit under double.
Yeah.
And convincing huge companies like Walmart that they're not going to spend billions in lobbying dollars to make that not happen is going to be interesting.
Something that people have to understand too is that payroll is extremely expensive. People are phenomenally expensive. And to operate a business like Walmart, where people expect to come in and buy a box of cereal for $2 or whatever it happens to be, the people involved in that box of cereal, okay? So first, to grow grain, okay? Then to take that and turn that into cereal. Then to package that. Then to transport it somewhere. Then to transport it somewhere else. And then probably somewhere else. And then finally to pick it up on a pallet, take it out onto a store floor, and then put it on a shelf. Then finally to have someone take it off, bring it to the cashier, and ring it up for you. The number of times that gets touched, the fact that you can buy anything for $2 or $3 means that nobody anywhere in that line was getting paid $15 an hour.
The truck driver.
Truck driver.
Probably was. The guy that flew the plane.
But you don't ship cereal by air.
Okay, the guy that...
Okay, the truck driver perhaps.
The boat?
Probably not.
If it was on a boat.
Yeah,
probably
maybe
not.
Maybe
if it's
not.
in the States, maybe
yeah,
not.
Probably not. Anyway, fine. Okay, maybe someone
Warehouse
did.
workers?
But the point is that nobody... Not
in
Walmart.
Nobody in Walmart.
Yeah, nobody in Walmart made over $15 an hour. And if they did, that box of cereal would cost more. So there's no clear solution here, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, that sucks. That's really depressing. That's a depressing news topic. Black Friday is not a happy holiday.
No. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so let's go into our...
we could probably talk about that topic for another hour and a half.
Yeah, there's probably a limit to how long
I don't
we
know how far I want to go into my hatred for big box stores. But yeah, I wish everything was small, mom and pops. People could make more money.
People could make more money, but then they wouldn't... Then
you charge more money for things, but then scale is a thing.
Yeah, and everyone wants to have each of the... If people were willing to buy a cell phone once every 4 years, and people were willing to not overbuy things, they could afford to pay a higher markup, and people would make living wages. But I think it's ultimately the consumer that drives this.
It's not just Walmart's problem. And they talk about how you drop a Walmart somewhere and every single mom and pop disappears.
Yeah.
If people kept doing what they're doing before the Walmart got there, the Walmart would disappear.
Yes, it would.
So it's not. It's a mixture of problems, and it's not just the consumers either. But then it's not just Walmart either.
I mean, there are other problems with the consumer mentality as well. This was a really interesting article. I wish I remember where I read it now, but it was about Black Friday and retailer margins. Now, this isn't as true for electronics retailers, but it's very true for retailers in industries where there typically is excellent margin, like cosmetics or clothing or shoes, where what happens is Black Friday is... I believe the discount level compared to 5 years ago had increased by 36%. But the actual retailer margins were identical. But there were a couple retailers that talked about trying to go straight, good everyday pricing versus having a high markup so that people think that Coach bag is worth $400. Like, that's honestly, Coach is the brand that baffles me more than any other one. Okay, I'll talk about Coach later. But basically what they found was that when they tried to go everyday low price, people just stopped buying. They just stopped buying because they wanted to feel like they were getting a deal. And that's what stores like Walmart do. That's what Big Box does so well, is they have a high price that nobody ever actually pays, and then they make you feel like you're getting a deal, and then they sell it for a lower margin, and then they don't pay their people very much. And then it's all this ecosystem that is just horrible. Anyway, so Coach, they're not even made of leather. Like... You walk into this store, okay, so like Coach has dedicated stores, Coach outlet stores, where the pricing is lower. Wow, it's lower. So why doesn't everybody go to the outlet store? Why do you ever go to the marked up more than the other one store? Like, how does this figure in people's brains? It's like, oh, Coach bag. Wow, that's really nice. Coach bags are expensive, except they're never expensive because they're always at the outlet store. They're not actually worth anything. They're plastic. Like, I was picking it up. I was like, it's $30. And again, it's that discount mentality.
Some guys like Linus boyfriend tips.
marked down from $60. And I'm like, okay, well, A, this was never worth $60. And B, it's not worth $30 because it's made of vinyl. Do you know how much vinyl's worth? It doesn't even have any music printed on it. That's the only time that it's worth it to pay $30 for a piece of vinyl.
Oh, man.
Why does anyone pay for this crap? Like, I have no problem with high-end stuff, but make it out of something high-end, okay? Make a nice purse. Make it out of leather and friggin' put gold on it, okay? Fine. You want to charge $20,000 for a phone that has, like, diamonds on it? Whatever. You put Swarovski crystals on it? What? It's like, oh no, this glass is really different from the other glass. So, yeah, there's like a goose, and it's a logo. Unbelievable. Anyway.
Oh, jeez.
I think we should move on to our next topic.
So was that fueled by something?
Oh yeah, no, I was at the Coach outlet. I was at the Coach outlet with my wife. We were buying Christmas presents. And she thinks it's stupid too. She didn't buy one for herself.
No,
No, I was just there, and there's this. Okay, see, you're getting me going on this again. So there's like a pre-Black Friday. I think what's it called? Haze or something? It's like a pre-Black Friday event at the mall, and you can go to the Coach outlet, and there was a lineup. Okay, there was a lineup at the Coach outlet to get in, and it's like
lineup at the Coach outlet,
and it's like 40% off. Okay, and here's another thing, guys. Anytime a retailer tells you 40% off means that they had 40% margin at some point, unless it's like a very exceptional deal on one thing and it's a closeout, okay? So, for example, electronics. NCIX's warehouse sales, where they mark things down 40%, and they go, yeah, well, this is the one that's 40% off, and it's like got a scratch on it, and it was returned by someone already, but don't worry, we checked to make sure it works. That is because they can't afford to give you 40% off on the entire inventory in the back because they'd be losing hundreds or thousands of dollars. That is an exceptional deal. An exceptional deal has to be an exception. When you walk into a store and it's buy one, get one for 50% off, that means that each of those pairs of shoes must have had 25% margin at least. At least. And that's all they gave you, was the money that they at least had. They definitely had more, because shoes are not actually worth anything. Unless Okay, so let's talk about maybe very well-crafted steel-toed work boots that are made of leather and have soles that are like super awesome rubber that doesn't slip when you're walking around on roofs. Those are shoes that are actually worth something. Shoes that are made of vinyl or plastic are not worth anything. And if you feel like buy one, get one 50% off is a deal, then you need to re-examine math. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
I probably shouldn't have pushed you more. I could definitely.
Nope, we're not
push
doing
you
it anymore.
further.
Okay, so, right, I've had the Squarespace lower third down here for like 5 minutes. Okay, so guys, Squarespace.com, the easy way to create your own website. You can get a free trial at Squarespace.com, and if you use offer code Linus12, you can get 10% off your first paid membership. So the way Squarespace works is you pick one of their templates, of which they have over 20. They're optimal for things like blogs or portfolios or little storefronts or all kinds of cool stuff like that. You pick one of their templates, you go ahead and build out your website. You can either use their builder or you can dive into the code and you can play around with it yourself if you want. If you buy a full year's membership, they will actually throw in a domain for you. So they'll go ahead and they'll cover the cost of you to acquire a domain, and then you just pay your monthly membership, and it's got scalable plans. So, you know, if you were to head over to linusmediagroup.com, you would see what a Squarespace website that we spent less than a day on actually looks like. So it is relatively easy to use, and it looks a lot nicer than things like WordPress, unless you're willing to put a lot of work into like endless work into WordPress, because the great thing about Squarespace is it runs not only really well on your desktop, but also on mobile devices like tablets and phones without any modding. All of their themes are already set up for it to work on everything. So guys, Squarespace is a proud sponsor of the WAN show, and we'd love for you to give it a try. Like, if you just, that's all I'm asking you to do.
Take advantage of that 10% margin.
Yeah, exactly. We're talking software. Software doesn't actually even have a BOM cost. So if we're gonna talk about margin structures, and you know this, software is not comparable to things like that at all.
I had to.
Anyway. If nothing else, you can try out the free trial. You can have a website for 2 weeks. You can play around with it. You can see if it works for you. And if it does or it doesn't, then you don't have to keep going with it. But if you do, use offer code Linus12. You can save 10% and then be happy.
with your margin.
With your margin that they have worked into their business because they're smart. Just like when we quote someone like Squarespace how much it costs to do this integration spot, and we say, oh, well, we'll give you, 10% off if you do 10 of them. That means that we had at least 10% margin.
-1.
If you type in -1
on our purchasing portal.
Yeah, exactly. I think we can use our own offer code.
No, I mean when they're buying from us.
Oh,
Maybe they have to.
give
or
them an offer
Squarespace
code?
one. Yeah.
Squarespace 1.
Here's your 10%.
Well, that'll be
off
for
code.
January.
Oh, okay.
All right, so let's go to our next topic here. Toshiba acquires OCZs assets for $35 million. This was posted by James_AJ on the forum. The original article is from AnonTech. Speaking of AnonTech, Anand Lauschimpi will be our guest on the WAN show next week.
Sweet.
The Anand from AnonTech.
So I could probably just leave the room.
Probably, because he's a pretty good talker.
I'm literally probably just going to type in Twitch chat for the entire time. You guys should see the unreleased video that's on my maybe not working right now phone of Linus tailing Anand for so long at Computex. I have the whole thing recorded.
I'm sort of a fan. So I've read almost every article he's ever written and like all that kind of stuff. He's super knowledgeable, super smart, very well respected in the industry, and I'm really excited to have him on the show next week. So anyway, this was written by Christian over at AnonTech, and basically, I guess the long and the short of it is they acquired OCZ for $35 million. It's unclear right now exactly what's going to be done with the brand itself. Exactly what's going to be done with the people themselves. I actually pinged a couple people I know at OCZ. I'm fairly well connected over there. I love those
says
guys.
In this article that the people
they're supposed to retain them, but
who knows, right?
Who knows what actually happens in the longer term, or like what kind of jobs they end up doing? Because if they don't continue the OCZ brand, then they could make them all janitors for Toshiba, North America or something. Like I don't know exactly what the terms are. And so for 35 million, to put that in perspective, OCZ spent 32 million acquiring Indelinks with controller IP and all their engineers and all the assets that came along with that. So Indelinks is an SSD controller company. Now Toshiba turns around and acquires OCZ in its entirety, including those assets, for $35 million.
So you could say they bought OCZ on sale, and there was a lot of margin.
There wasn't margin. They lost a lot of money.
There was a lot of margin when OCZ bought Indelinks.
They lost a lot. No,
so
I
OCZ
think that was probably...
went shopping at the mom and pop store.
Okay, you know that isn't
Toshiba
the same thing.
went shopping at Walmart.
I'm not talking about that anymore. I'm not talking about it anymore. So Toshiba gets a couple great benefits here. Number one is they get any IP that Indelinks owns, which is great. Number two is they get the OCZ brand if they do decide that they want it. Right now they've said that they will be honoring warranties, at least until the acquisition is complete. But after that, I don't think we know exactly what's going to happen. So that's a little bit tricky. And I did promise to talk about this on the WAN show a little bit. Anyone who didn't see this coming probably didn't know anything about OCZ's business. And I hear from consumers a lot about why they think OCZ went out of business, and it really isn't those things. It has nothing to do with that. They're like, well, I had an OCZ drive and it died, so therefore they're a bad company and that's why they went. No, that's not why they went out of business at all. The reason they went out of business was complete and utter mismanagement. I mean, this is going back to my NCIX days, I would buy, let's say 1,000 OCZ SSDs of a particular model. And I would say, guys, I don't think I can move 1,000 of these within my normal 30-day terms. And they would say, Linus, don't worry about it. We'll extend your terms. You can have 90-day terms. And I'd say, well, I don't think I can move these within 90 days because it's not a very good deal. And they'd say, don't worry about it. We'll give you instant rebates after the fact. So basically what OCZ was doing was they were booking the revenue because I was giving them a PO and they were shipping me the drives, but then they were never actually intending to collect that money in its entirety. Because they were going to give me discounts after the fact before I ever paid them.
So they were collecting that money, but they were discounting it.
Theoretical money.
Yeah.
They were collecting theoretical money. And because of the way that computer chip pricing works, it typically goes down over time. I'm going backwards for you guys. There we go. Down over time. By the time 90 days has passed, they have shipped me flash that was so expensive 90 days ago and is now very inexpensive, but they paid for it then, but I'm going to pay for it now, and they're going to have to keep discounting it to make sure that I can sell it. So obviously that business model was only going to work if they could sell me 10,000 the next time around, so that when I gave them that order, they could put that on their books. And so it was never going to work. It never had anything to do with OCZ having the most drive failures. You know what? They might have had the most drive failures. They were also #1 market share in a lot of places for a long time. They were selling a lot of drives. And when someone's selling 100 and someone else is selling 10, you're going to see 10 complaining customers. Let's say there was a 10% failure rate, which there isn't. But you'd have 10 complaining customers here versus 1 here. That starts to add up, right?
And so the idea was they had to keep on selling larger and larger orders forever if they wanted to stay in business forever.
Unless they got to the point where they had such enormous momentum that someone acquired them, which was rumored to happen for a while there, or they got such enormous momentum that they could scale back the discounting and they would be able to retain a reasonable sales volume and they would be able to make money. But that was never going to happen because SSDs went from being a performance enthusiast type device to being completely commodity and dominated by guys like Samsung who own fabs and who own controller technology and all this stuff and can just sell it at whatever margin. They don't care because they can sell themselves the flash, make money there, and they could sell drives at a loss for all they care. You'll never be able to compete with those guys by putting a shiny gold heat spreader on something once it becomes a commodity item. And with SSDs, it happened very quickly. It went
really
from
fast.
like Vertex, black and silver label, to whatever, Crucial M4 with the ugliest label I've ever seen in my life, and nobody cares.
Intel 520's scratched metal back.
So if they'd been able to have that boutique-y branding and they'd been able to get margin back out of it after they had an enormous sales volume and great brand presence, then it might have worked. I mean, there were issues. I mean, they did release bunk products. I think it was the Petrol.
Oh.
I can't remember. There was one that had like a 40% RMA rate. It was ridiculous. But a lot of their stuff was very solid. But being a smaller company, they often couldn't validate things to the same extent that someone like Intel will spend a year validating a drive. Yeah, nope, we're going to make sure.
Yeah, but Toshiba might be able to do that.
But Toshiba already sells SSDs under their own name. I'd be very interested to see Toshiba. To be clear, I mean, I had a couple people comment on, well, Toshiba's so small. Like, how could they afford to buy OCZ? They're small. They're small in the SSD space. I'm like, oh, no, they're not. Toshiba is a NAND flash manufacturer.
They're small in the, like, branded,
yes.
labeled Toshiba SSD space.
I mean, to be clear, guys, the size of a company is not always apparent at the surface. Like, you might look at companies that have a good brand name, but they're actually rebranding a product that's being produced by a much larger company that's selling to a bunch of different brands. Like, someone else made a comment that ADATA was really small. Oh, no, they're not.
Nope.
They are an SSD manufacturer. They don't put a label on things and then sell it to you. They actually assemble and put the chips on PCBs. So they're not quite at the level of Toshiba, where they manufacture NAND flash to sell to guys like ADATA, who put it together to sell to guys like, what would be a great example? Like Patriot. That's why they didn't survive in the SSD business, because they don't own fabs and they don't own manufacturing. So SSD wasn't going to work for them unless they were willing to invest all that money. And not everyone has that kind of money.
Yeah, for instance, someone in the chat just said American Megatrends is not a small company.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of not small companies, we actually have our sponsors sort of mostly lined up for CES. So huge thanks to NCIX, who is our gold sponsor. If you guys are looking forward to our CES content, we are taking the whole team. So we're going to have me and Edsel as one of our teams, and then we're going to have Luke and Brandon as our other team. So we're going to be covering as much of the show as we can possibly bring to you guys. And NCIX is making it possible. And then, oh wow, I'm drawing a complete blank on our second sponsor. Corsair is our silver sponsor, is our first silver sponsor. And then we're still talking to a couple of other guys. I'm harassing WD to see if they want to sponsor us to be there at the show. I think they do, but I think they have to do some paperwork or something. But we'll get back to you guys on the other ones. But so far, NCIX and Corsair, huge shout out to you guys for making it possible for us to be there and bring all that content to the audience.
Yeah.
There is one other thing that I do want to call out before we move on.
Sure.
This is something that this is a video that's not released yet.
Okay.
So it's just going to be a teaser for now. We have a giveaway coming.
Oh.
Okay, I'll skip our intro. Funny, people complain about the intro length. That's what you do about it.
Woo! Yeah, I'm driving! Awesome! Woo! Woo! Yeah! All right!
So that's all I'm going to show you guys, but the video does go on, but I'm planning to release that probably sometime tonight or tomorrow morning. It's a giveaway. We're giving away a bunch of cool stuff, a full gaming peripheral prize pack, and some stinky footboards, so stay tuned for that. All right, here's our next big topic guys, actually, let's do a Twitter blitz. Let's do it on the OCZ buyout and on the topic of, is it the end of the line for AMD FX processors? So feel free to hit us up on either of those two topics, at Linus Tech on Twitter. Let's talk about this. So this was posted by Tech Fanatic on the forum, and it's a leaked roadmap that seems to suggest, right there, Vishera, AMD FX processor, socket AM3 Plus, are going to be continuing all the way to 2050. I suspect they'll just be EOL'd at some point. This is just a placeholder because it's just going away. So socket FM2 Plus is going to be getting refreshes on a yearly basis. So we're going to get like 8000 series graphics and like next-gen AMD Radeon, all this cool stuff. DDR3, still DDR3 in 2015. Hey, that's interesting, hey?
That might not be a bad move, though. Wait
Yeah.
for DDR to get better. Because
DDR4, you
DDR4
mean?
is probably going to... Well, yeah, DDR4 is probably not going to be super great at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a bad idea.
Mind you, DDR4 would benefit onboard graphics because you'd have more bandwidth,
Yeah.
but
Good
at a
point.
cost to latency. So I don't know. I'll be interested to see if this is even real, but this is something that we've been talking about for a real long time, guys.
I don't remember that... Like, I don't remember the number of that WAN show, but, like, We talked about it fairly in depth like a while ago.
Yeah, it was like back when we were in the garage. So, is there really any difference between AMD abandoning FX on the AM3 or AM3 Plus, whatever you want to call it, the AM platform, and Intel's current strategy, where they haven't abandoned the high-end LGA 2011 platform? In fact, they're going to continue to release processors there, and there'll be 6 cores and 8 cores and bajillion cores or whatever they're going to do. But it's not a focus.
No. And it comes out kind of whenever.
Bloomfield was released before Linfield. So that was the 1366 platform that came out before the 1156 platform. And that was the last time Intel led with an enthusiast grade product and then followed with a mainstream product. Since then, they've been leading with mainstream, and enthusiast has been as much as 2 processor architecture generations behind the mainstream product. So when Haswell launched, we were still on Sandy Bridge E, and then we got Ivy Bridge E sort of a little while later. So is this really any different? Now consider this. Intel's mainstream chips also have onboard graphics, and AMD calls any CPU that has onboard graphics right on the die an APU.
So by AMD's definition, the Intel mainstream ones are APUs.
APUs. So we're talking about, AMD's abandoning the high end. Well, are they? Has Intel abandoned the high end? Is the 4770K not a high end product from a gaming perspective? I would argue it is. I'd rather have an 8-core, but is it not high end enough for you? I don't know.
It's interesting, and like they're boasting some pretty fast chips too. Like, they're not really slow. There was more information outside of just that chart, which is like even more rumory than that chart, although that chart looks pretty official. Which was specking out speeds. I didn't include it in the notes because it was like pretty rumory, so I'm not sure how true it was. But they look pretty quick. And if you look at like any build guide ever, they're probably not running for the Intel side. They're probably not running a 2011 socket CPU. Yeah. Because that's not super common. So basically everything he just said.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to affect their business in any tangible way. I think if they can deliver... in fact, I think it's great to see us going back to the one socket strategy. I'm kind of tired of having 2 different sockets all over the place. It's like between AMD and Intel, we have 4 different sockets, and that's the current gen only. So we've got 2011, we've got 1150, we've got AM3 or 3 Plus or 2, whatever they want to call it, and then we've got FM2 or FM2 Plus. And then you can still buy LGA 1155 stuff.
Which is like super relevant.
Which is super relevant still because it performs just fine. And then AMD's always got like 2 sockets trailing back, so you can buy FM2 Plus or FM2, and you can buy AM3 Plus or AM3, and then sometimes the CPUs are backwards compatible, and sometimes the sockets are backwards compatible. And if anything, I think it's more confusing. If we can go down to, okay, well, we're going to ship only APUs, they're going to have great onboard graphics, and you can use them or you cannot. And remember, guys, you don't have to use onboard graphics for graphics, you can use them for compute as well. So with HSA coming, onboard graphics might become more and more relevant as time goes on, and we might just see that whole thing as, well, this is a processor, and it's good at a lot of different things, and it might not matter that it's graphics cores, CPU cores, or whatever else. So if AMD starts to just deliver better processors that have all these things built into them, I don't see an inherent problem with that, and it's all in one socket, it's all easy. If they can deliver more cores, then that's great too.
I think it was interesting timing, because for a while there, honestly, no one really seemed to care about AMD processors at all. Like, I never saw them at all. And then 8350 versus 3570K became this huge thing. And then you saw AMD processors all over the place all of a sudden.
Yeah, I know.
And then now they're like, nah. So it's just like, if you did it before, I would have maybe seen it as being realistic. But then now you're doing it now when people are more interested in your product. But then, I don't know.
Costs a lot more to maintain 2 different platforms as well.
Yeah.
Another post from Tech Fanatic. Crytek says, we're evaluating Mantle. So here is the link to the source. There you go. There's a panel discussion, so you guys can check that out. It'll be posted in the WAN show document at any rate.
And they don't just say they're evaluating it. Direct quote says, where is it? I can't really talk too much about Mantle, that's why, but then he goes into talk about Mantle pretty seriously. So to just get the elephant out of the room, we're still evaluating Mantle, so we haven't made any clear decisions on that yet, but we're taking a look at it, and it looks good so far.
Very promising. I mean, when you consider that Star Citizen has already committed Mantle support, and this is a CryEngine-based game, if Cloud Imperium and Crytek aren't somewhat gonna talk to each other about this, that I'd be very surprised.
Yeah.
I would be surprised to see...
And like AMD pulled in Cloud Imperium.
Yeah, I would be surprised to not see Mantle implemented in CryEngine at this point, based on what we've read now.
Yeah.
Which is extremely exciting. I mean, Mantle is still an unknown. It's December. I haven't seen a Mantle patch for BF4 yet, so I guess it's coming in a while. Maybe it'll be a Christmas present. So it's still an unknown quantity, but it looks promising.
Yeah, well, they both are, to be honest. Like, no one's really seen G-Sync. I know you have, and like a few other people have, but to mass consumers, it's still a completely unknown.
Okay, but it's not an unknown if someone knows it.
Yeah.
Whereas
but
Mantle...
to everybody else who hasn't seen it, it's an unknown.
Okay, so by your logic, atoms are an unknown. Because only a few people have seen them, so... Everyone else is just taking their word for it. No, that's totally invalid.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
is. You
is.
can go see an atom.
Okay, fine, then let's come up with something else that people can't see. It doesn't matter. The point is that if someone knows, and it's validated...
But you can't properly explain it, because no one has any idea what you're talking about.
Okay. But that's different from something just plain old not existing yet.
I'm not saying it's not existing. I didn't say it wasn't existing.
No, an unknown has to be unknown. An
An
unidentified flying object isn't
But you can't properly explain it. People are saying air, and they have a good point. But you can kind of see that as well.
No.
In
You
certain
can see
environments.
particles in it, and you can see the way it flows. Okay, so hold on. An unidentified flying object, okay? If somebody knows what it is and says, yeah, it's one of those, it's not unidentified. Even if the person watching it was like, what is that? It's unidentified.
Sure, but they still have not experienced it. They don't know what it's like. They know. Oh my god! Talking about G-Sync.
Okay, G-Sync.
You're blowing certain things in this.
Well, you did this to me earlier.
When?
With the whole margin thing.
That was completely different.
You were taking... No, it wasn't. You were taking unrelated Okay. Actually, I stand by this, though. An unknown has to be unknown to everyone.
Okay, but they don't understand. They haven't seen it. They haven't processed it. It hasn't been properly explained by you or anyone else because people still don't understand what the hell it does.
Well, here, I'll properly explain it right now.
Then do it.
Tearing goes away. Leg
But then we have to
away.
go into all the other concepts about it too, because when you say that, people are blowing other
Well,
things
no, but
out of
that's the
proportion.
explanation. That's what it does. That's the
it's
end of
not
the rainbow. That's the
deep
pot of
enough.
gold. Is you sit down in front of your monitor, and the delay that would normally exist when the GPU is finished drawing a frame and the monitor's not ready yet because it's on a fixed refresh rate, that's gone. And then the tearing that exists when your frame rate exceeds the monitor's refresh rate is gone too. So it's visually smooth. That's all. It's visually smooth.
Yes,
that's all
but
there
then
is to
go
say.
on any forum.
Okay.
And no one has any idea what's going on.
People refusing to listen is not the same as something being unknown.
But then they don't know it.
That doesn't mean it's unknown. Mantle is unknown.
By a large majority. They've been talking about Mantle as well.
There's a difference
They've been talking about how fast their speed increase.
There's a difference between something being unknown and some people being ignorant about it.
People
Those
have
are not
talked
the same
about Mantle.
thing.
People have talked about the speed increases.
They've talked about the wishy-washy speed increases.
They've still talked about it. They've still explained how it is. They had that huge stream. All the reviewers talked about it. So it's on equal levels. So they're both known then.
Which reviewers talked about it?
PC Per.
PC Per. They have a Battlefield 4 build that they've run?
They saw the... I didn't say Battlefield 4. They saw the Mantle experiment thing.
That was a tech demo.
So?
So what? So it's a tech demo. I've seen tech demos of physics that make it look like the next best thing for gameplay.
What was it? Borderlands made physics looks like the next best thing for gameplay, but that was BS too.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter though.
I think we'll just have to agree to disagree on this one. All right, so Amazon
They're both on the same level.
I was willing to move on.
I'm not.
Well, Amazon is testing drones for deliveries. This was a big news article that absolutely exploded on the entire internet. Is it the truth? Is it the most clever marketing ruse in the entire history of marketing? I don't think we're quite sure yet, but it was it was definitely good marketing. We're just not sure if they're actually working on it yet because Amazon has everyone talking about them for free without paying a dime on the busiest shopping weekend in the United States. So
they've got to be working on it on some level if there's that Chinese company that's got it.
Yes, they're probably working on it on some level, but we still don't know that this is actually realistic. So here's the original article from the BBC. is the drones, called octocopters, could deliver packages weighing up to 2.3 kilograms, so that's about 5 pounds, to customers within 30 minutes of them placing their order. However, he added that it could take up to 5 years for the service to start. There are some complications. So the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration has approved the use of drones for police and government agencies, but they have not issued any permits for civilian use as yet. And that's not, they don't have to do anything about it until 2015. So Amazon can be experimenting and sort of talking about this all they want, but there won't be anything until 2015 at the very earliest, unless the FAA just decides out of the goodness of their hearts that they're...
It's the FAA, though.
Yeah, exactly. So
probably not.
Well, that's why I said the FAA and the goodness of their hearts.
They don't have those.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of problems that people have brought up, like weather, operating costs, reliability, potential vandalism, thefts, FAA regulations. That was all stolen from an Antec article.
Yeah.
But like...
Well, not to say... Well, hold on. Let's not say stolen. Let's credit it. So Jared Walton from an Untech wrote a very excellent piece about some of the challenges. So challenge number 1 was... Oh, I can't remember. Okay, well, there were a bunch of... Okay, this was the one I liked the most. Okay, as their CEO noted, they have around 300 items ordered every second on Cyber Monday. That creates a lot of work for the shipment side of the business. But even if Amazon tried to deliver only 10% of their packages by drone, and they were claiming that up to 86% of Amazon shipments could be handled by drone with respect to weight and distance.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so even if they tried to ship 10% on such a busy day, they'd be looking at 30 packages per second. So they'd probably need, a delivery time of about 20 minutes, let's say, if they're moving at high speed towards a target. Probably another 10 minutes for refueling, and a drone fleet numbering 54,000 would be needed. So if all orders were to be delivered by drones, we'd be looking at 10 times that number, over 500,000 drones.
I didn't read the part about distance being in there as well, but I'm sure it's in there. But
oh yeah, they'd need warehouse locations within 10 miles of your office or residence to be in range. So the
distance
was
is
covered
kind of an
here.
issue.
So
because they don't have warehouse locations within 10 miles.
And the drones would need to be amazing.
To be able to go that fast?
I mean, they'd need to, not even just that fast.
A lot of drones I find don't go that quickly.
To operate with the precision, to be able to, like I picture the Death Star and the Millennium Falcon being pulled in by the tractor beam, and then we need, what was it, 300 per second of them? I mean, it would be like a beehive.
Oh, well, yeah, but that's also, there isn't one shipping depot.
No, there isn't one shipping depot, but...
It's a lot of, and they're saying within 10,000, whatever. So it's like, if you actually want to have that distance calculation as well, it's like tons of them.
So they would need to have amazing collision detection. They would, I mean, to come in and land and be precise enough to, go into whatever kind of a dock that then probably carries it somewhere. I mean, they have amazing automation facilities inside their warehouses, guys. So for it to land on like a dock and then be carried on rails to the exact spot where it can pick up that thing and then be taken out to another dock, that's totally realistic now. But the precision with which they'd have to fly, if anyone's ever flown an AR drone on a windy day, for example,
it'll get taken off course quite easily. They're
not AR drones. They're much better, but they have 8
rotors, I believe.
Yeah, 8 rotors
kind of
and
crazy.
Probably better cameras, and that's another thing. Adverse weather conditions. I mean, if they could fly by, I don't know, sonar, then I guess it wouldn't be sonar. It would be echolocation. If they could fly by something like that, I guess echolocation's kind of sonar. If they could fly by bouncing sound waves and they could avoid obstacles that way, then that would be kind of cool. But if they relied on line of sight, I mean...
That would be kind of ridiculous. Not only just weather, like, what if someone puts up a tent? What do you do?
Yeah.
Like, those streets that have those, like, banner signs on their light poles?
Yeah.
Like, what if they just put those up? Like, what happens?
And I mean, that all even ignores, like, stupid people.
Yeah.
I mean, I laughed when I saw it. I really did. But I was just like, yeah, it'll happen. And aside from shipments being lost and these extremely expensive drones probably being damaged on a fairly regular basis, I mean, what about the danger? People shooting up in the air trying to take down drones, because it will happen.
Yep.
Totally will happen, and that bullet coming down and hitting someone, it is no secret that what goes up must come down, and what goes up at a speed that's enough to pierce skin and bones will come down at a speed that is enough to pierce skin and bones.
The bullet probably won't be going in a perfect line. It might be flipping and stuff, but it's still going to cause damage.
Yeah, it'll still kill ya. if it hits you in the head. You know, it's a bullet, and it's going fast.
Small metal object, large velocity. Problem.
Squishy target.
Yeah.
All right. So, was it fake? I don't know. There's
It's a Chinese company.
Yep. And UPS and FedEx have come out and said that they're looking into drone technology as well. I mean, they could reduce. I mean,
see, that makes more sense because, and if it's longer shipping times, not 30 minutes, because then you could bring it. There's UPS and FedEx depots everywhere.
And here's the thing that kind of scares me is this race to lower costs and more automation. And people, again, it comes back to the Black Friday protests.
Bye-bye, employees.
It's like, okay, so you want to raise. How about we take half of you and replace you with robots, and the other half of you can all have a raise?
That was actually one of my notes on the Walmart thing, is like, they'll probably just fight this until they don't need employees anymore.
And you know what? At what point do we abandon the notion that everyone, like the capitalist notion of everyone works and makes a fair wage and gets a minivan and a house in the suburbs and like sort of the American dream, so to speak? When do we abandon that because the machines really can do everything for us, and we just kind of go, okay, well, nobody really has to work anymore, so why do we bother? Like, it's not really communism because it's not taking everyone and paying them the same for different jobs, because would anyone even need
really
jobs anymore? And
What's
to make money on anymore if you don't pay anyone anything for anything, because you don't need UPS drivers, because they're going to have self-driving trucks that deliver to depots that have, you know, maybe
robots
like
in them.
One dude who loads
the
the drone thing and fixes the drones, and then the drones carry everything everywhere else.
But then you're going to have a drone that fixes the drones and loads the drones, and then a drone that fixes the other one, and they can fix each other just in case.
And at that point, do we just take all the UPS drivers and just go, well, look, I mean, it doesn't cost anything to deliver packages anymore, so, you know, here's some food and somewhere to stay, and, I mean, no one will be that charitable, so... And then if no UPS drivers buy, like, you know, cool iPads, then what? It's going to be a very interesting 20 years.
Yeah. Bleh.
All right, what's our next topic?
The China shipments.
Oh, yeah.
I'll jump right onto it.
Sure.
So the biggest glaring problem I saw with this right away is that, so the FAA is stepping in front of the possible issues with drones in the States and making that probably not a possible issue for quite a while. But China was like, yeah, go for it. As long as you get like regional aerial authority pass, whatever the heck. So one shipping company there, SF Express, is already jumping into it and starting basically now. But a problem I have is in that picture, it looks super clean and nice there. But in a lot of different places in China, there's so much smog that you can't really see anything. For reference, we have another article here that we may or not bring up. But 20 million CCTV cameras were rendered basically useless because of the smog. They can't see anything. So if these drones are driven by vision, like robotic vision, what are they supposed to do if you can't see anything? Like, is it going to be predetermined paths? Are those paths going to have to be permanently cleared no matter what? Are they going to be see through some other means, like echolocation or something like that?
I mean, this is the thing that concerns me about, like, I'd love to have a flying car, but the airspace is probably going to become congested faster than even the ground level roads did.
Yeah.
With all the unmanned junk, like, I mean, is like schwacking into a drone in your car going to be just
the
like...
new, like, oh,
I hit a goose today. Holy crap. Like, unusual, but not unheard of? I don't know. And then what about the liability for all this?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe in China, no cares were given. Here's the smog thing. Maybe in China, no cares were given about the liability because it's not land of the lawsuit like it is over here. But, like, here, that's, like, there's going to be...
If you nudge someone in the head, you will get sued for millions.
So what if a drone hits someone's car, knocks the mirror off, the mirror falls on their nephew, who falls and like breaks his nose off or something? Like, who's liable for this? How much does it cost? There's a lot of stuff to figure out.
It's gonna get interesting.
And you know, the funny thing about it is the argument could be made like, hey, tough luck, man. I'm sorry it worked out that way, but drones and self-driving cars have much lower have much lower rates of error and collision and failure than the ones that were operated by humans. So I'm sorry this worked out this way for you, but you know, the goods of the many, or the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, and overall, for the greater good, it's better that we do this way.
But then at the same time,
but what about me? I wouldn't have crashed the car. I would have done better. Like there's a lot of stuff to figure out over the next little bit here.
And like pointing at someone and saying, well, if this drone didn't hit you, the guy driving the truck would have.
Yeah, you can't say that.
You can't say that. That's not accurate, and you can't prove it in any way. So it's kind of funky town.
All right, so I was right. Micro USB is stupid.
But they're making it like this. I hope they make it more durable. Did you see they're planning on making it like the same size?
Yeah, but size is fine. I actually don't even mind the lightning connector.
They can make it more durable. I'm just saying I hope they don't like completely mimic it.
So the next USB plug will finally be reversible. The story was on The Verge. Work has begun on the Type-C connector. So this is the only connector one will need across all devices. One connector to rule them all. And I mean, yeah, this is funny. So they link to their article where they talk about the clumsy and oversized micro USB 3 port. I mean, micro USB 3 is ridiculous. So this will be a USB 3 standard connector. So it'll be a super speed connector. Yeah, I think this is just their review. Yeah, where they talk about the like huge USB 3 port that's like massive and ridiculous. I mean, it's fast and that's great. But I am super excited, and I'm glad to see acknowledgement that I was right, and micro USB is stupid, and we need to move on to something else. So it'll be small, super thin, reversible, and hopefully will be the standard for phones of the future.
Pretty cool, actually. Pretty stoked for that. Something I'm not necessarily pretty stoked for is something that I will never do, which is buying a 1966 Jaguar XJ13 for $150 US.
Well, hold on a second. If you could get a Jaguar for $140, you would do it, right?
The actual car, yes.
Gran Turismo
Not a
6,
digital one.
coming to PlayStation 3 on Friday, will allow you to buy an in-game car for $140.
Which is ridiculous. I think the scale's even worse for Euros, which, like, that happens so much, and, like, I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah,
but
you
I
guys
hope
are
you
getting
weren't going to buy
boned.
this anyways.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So to purchase it, you would have to buy two $7.5 million in-game packs. So $140 total.
Plus two of the other ones.
Yeah.
And like, there's... I watched the little video where it leaked what the cost of some of the cars are, and there's quite a few that are in, like, the I think... I didn't really do the math, but I think it's about $50 range. How much was the $7.5 million one? Because they're $5 million. I saw a ton that were $5 million.
7.5 million. Hold on, let me double check.
7.5 million points. I mean, sorry.
Yeah, 7.5 million points was $50.
So yeah, I saw a whole bunch that were $5 million.
$40 range.
So like
kinda.
$40 range cars. There's a lot of them.
At what point do we stop calling microtransactions microtransactions?
See, they're micro because of
They're easy and fast.
yeah, and what you have to deal with and stuff. They're not technically micro because of the cost.
Okay then.
So they're still a micro transaction. So I thought, did you see my new coining?
No, what are you calling? Go.
MMT, or massive microtransactions. So this game could be redefined as an MMTRS, a massive microtransactions racing simulation.
Excellent. That's exactly what we needed.
I love it. You could have like MMT MMORPGs. Oh, fantastic.
So this is something that I personally am quite excited about. Although I don't think I can find the article right now. Can you do a rapid fire topic? Let me just see if I can find this.
Sure. Give me one quick second. Gotta find something. We've covered most of our stuff. We're actually 22 minutes over time.
Yeah, we should probably wrap it up pretty quick, but I really want to talk about this.
So I don't think we need to talk about this for too long because it happened to Yahoo and Google as well, but NSA was just leaked about how they tapped into data center interlinks at Microsoft. So the links that go in between their big data center buildings, which are not too close to each other. They've tapped into that, and they're sniffing everything, and Microsoft is pissed. There's a quote of them saying, "These allegations are very disturbing. If they are true, these actions amount to hacking and seizure of private data, and in our view, a breach of the protection guaranteed by the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution." That was said by Brad Smith, Microsoft's general counsel. Which is funny, because they didn't really care too much when it was happening to us, and now they're super pissed that it's happening to them. But I wonder if this is a good thing, because now that we have stuff like people like Microsoft getting all angry about it, maybe they're actually on our side now. Maybe something will actually happen, because they weren't so much before. Like, at all. So, yeah.
All right, let's go look at Linus's email. New Shield features! I love Shield.
Yeah, I was wondering where I was supposed to find
Yeah,
this.
sorry, it was in my email. So the gamepad mapper, so that's the feature that allows you to take NVIDIA Shield and map the physical buttons to touchscreen buttons. So you can basically make any touchscreen controlled game a physically controlled game. Yes! Has been updated, so you have the ability to share, browse, and rate community-sourced gamepad mapper profiles, so you don't have to create your own. You can just download the best-rated gamepad mapper profile that someone else created, and boom, you're in the game. That also gives the ability to map gyro simulation to your thumbsticks, which is cool. It gives the right thumbstick a feature for first-person perspective games that use touch swipes to look around, and it adds a new accelerated cursor option for joystick mouse mode. Also, they have added 1080p 60 FPS support to the console mode, as long as you're using a USB to gigabit Ethernet adapter, which I have, of course, purchased.
Yeah.
You have to get an on-the-go compatible one, and I actually grabbed a hub as well. So I grabbed a hub and then, or an OTG cable, and a hub, and then a USB to gigabit thing, so that I can also plug in my Bluetooth controller.
Nice.
I am so stoked. I am just so stoked.
That's actually
GameStream
really cool.
works really well, but for some reason there's some interference in my living room or something, and it doesn't work particularly well on my TV. But in my kitchen is fine, which is actually further from my router.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it's bizarre. My Shield works fine there, but in my living room it's bizarre. So I'll run wired to the living room over power line, and then I should have enough for 1080p on the TV. Oh, I'm excited.
Epic.
And NVIDIA also has opened up their, oh bollocks, what's it called? Yeah, GameStream. Using Grid. It's an open beta. Anyone with the Shield, with the latest software update, just has a Grid button. I should bring one in so you can try it.
Yeah.
It works. I posted on Instagram my connection speed, which was optimal for it, and there's some blockiness to the textures. It's hardly perfect, but streaming from Vancouver to NVIDIA server in Santa Clara was a playable gaming experience. I was winning rounds in Street Fighter.
Wow.
And I'm not a particularly good fighting game player, so I was able to block things. The latency was not bad. It was very playable, not that noticeable, and it works.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
It's really interesting.
I still don't...
And it's free right now because it's beta.
Yeah.
So you can, anyone with a Shield, you can just play. I think they've got Darksiders 2, Street Fighter something, and 8 games total.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, you got to try it.
So what do you think is going to be like a service, like a pay-per-month service?
Oh, it'll definitely be a service. NVIDIA doesn't want to run the service. They just want to do a proof of concept here so that someone else can go and buy a bunch of Grid servers and make this a business.
That makes sense.
And it'll happen because... holy crap, it
works. What's that? On live. Yeah,
it's
got to be all over that.
So it'll work. Okay, and then last thing that I'm really excited about here is... wait, oh crap, what was it? It was that... And...
my favorite thing while you look for that is the mapping thing, because I can map things out, but it's going to take me forever to find like my most preferred thing. And I would like someone who's going to spend a huge amount of time on mapping something like this to just go map it for me, and then I can just get used to their mapping, because I know there's a ton of games where it might be mapped differently than what I'm used to, but as long as it's still mapped well, I can get used to it and it'll be okay. Like shooters, I'll notice shooters, like any minor change, I notice it immediately. But as long as it kind of makes sense, I can usually get used to it. Like the control to C thing for crouch, a lot of shooters changed crouch to C, and I'm used to playing with it on control. But I got used to that pretty quick because it kind of makes sense. Like it's after playing with it for a while, you understand why they did it. I still kind of like it on control, but either way.
I forget.
You find it by now?
No, it's not in here. It was something that I was thinking about.
Okay.
That I really wanted to say that was on the subject of Shield and Grid and cloud gaming and all that as well. Anyway, it works surprisingly well, and it's really, really... oh, yes! Limelight. So that sort of ghetto Shield It's an APK you can download. It was there's a thread on XDA developers. I tried it. So I tried it on the Nexus 5, which is pretty much the recommended device. So it's got AC wireless. As long as you're running dual band wireless, you should be able to leverage that. I have an AC router at home, so I gave it as much wireless bandwidth as I could. I sat next to my router. And it's got AC wireless, and it has a Qualcomm Snapdragon processor. It's got a Snapdragon 800 or whatever it is, and it's got built-in H.264 decode. So what that means is that is the optimal, most recommended device for Limelight. The experience wasn't very good. Image quality was fine, but there were very noticeable lag spikes. So while the game stream works, it only works with Steam right now. So this is very much like a kludgy, hacked solution. It's really cool that it works at all, but it wasn't playable. NVIDIA has spent a lot of time and done a lot of work optimizing Shield in order to deliver the latency that they do. I'm still considering, once Limelight gets a couple more releases, because it's getting new releases like weekly right now. So once we get a couple more releases and it gets a bit more optimized, then I think what we should do is we should revisit Ghetto Shield, and we should go, okay, Nexus 5 or HTC One or some kind of optimal phone on a Moga, okay? And then we go that on AC wireless versus Shield on dual band N, and then we go Splash Top, and we compare all three with the high-speed camera, so we can really see the difference, and we can see how much optimization work actually goes into making this work, aside from just the hardware. Because talking to NVIDIA, they claim that it's actually mostly software.
Yeah.
The hardware is nothing special. It's a dual band N antenna and a Tegra chip.
It makes sense.
Which is an ARM processor with a GeForce core on it.
You have to deal with things in a very weird way. It makes sense that it would be software.
So
right now, at least.
There.
Yeah.
I talked about all the new Shield stuff that makes me super excited.
Do you want to do maybe build logs and then a Twitter thing and then be done, or a Twitter thing and then build logs and then be done?
Let's do the Twitter blitz, because I asked you guys to blitz about that a while ago. Then we'll follow up with build logs of the week and we'll call it a show.
Sure.
Like, yeah, we'll do some things and we'll call it a show. I hope you guys have enjoyed the better audio quality for this show. We have a totally new setup. Actually, maybe we'll do a short after party after build logs of the week, and I can show you guys our new setup because it's really
that'd
cool.
Be cool.
All right, so, Tech Fanatic. You and your long PMs on the forum. Suddenly the end of FX becomes almost irrelevant.
Read the first one first.
Okay, the point of Twitter is that it's a 140 character limit, because that's all we want. If you want to type essays, you can type them to me somewhere else. If HSA and Mantle can allow games to leverage the IGP of the APUs for physics and hybrid crossfire, then all of a sudden end of FX becomes irrelevant. Yeah, anything that allows us to utilize the onboard graphics on the CPU more is definitely good. Luke is right. We have actual numbers for Mantle, but we did not see G-Sync because we can't, and it's still only on TN. We have actual theoretical numbers for Mantle, and we have some preliminary numbers for Mantle. We don't know how Mantle affects the actual output quality of the game. That's something we don't know yet. It probably will be fine. It will probably be the same, but it might not.
To, I guess, fight against myself, it's coming on IPS. We just haven't seen it on IPS yet.
Yeah, and why do you sent me a PM about this, dude? Oh, G-Sync only works on these No, you're wrong. You're just wrong. You're wrong. G-Sync works on any monitor where the monitor manufacturer decides to implement the module. That's it. So, yes, the launching monitor, the prototype that's out now is an Asus 144Hz TN. Okay, not particularly exceptional when it comes to viewing angle or color reproduction. Yes, we all know this. But there's no reason that G-Sync couldn't be delivered on your next generation 4K TV.
Stoked for would be
amazing.
That Dell 24-inch 4K quality monitor with G-Sync on it. Boom.
And looking at the Assassin's Creed 5 demo that they had, where NVIDIA was showing off, yeah, we have 4K gaming now, it looked like ass because it was tearing all over the place, and just the latency on it was terrible because TVs are stupid and they have tremendous input lag. Because remember, G-Sync is not only this technology, it's also a processor. Yeah, scalar.
See, again, but then
lower input lag.
I'm not going to get into it.
All going to be good things.
I'm stoked. I haven't even seen it yet.
I'll bring it in on Monday.
Cool.
So I'm going to play with it this weekend. I'll bring it in on Monday, and you will be a believer.
No, I already am because of how. But we
anyway,
need to not get into this conversation.
What do you think of Republic of Gamers GTX 780 Poseidon? I think it's a card that has hybrid air and liquid cooling. I think it's a GTX 780 based graphics card. and I think it's going to look like an ROG card. I don't really know what else you want me to say about it. It's going to be
pretty cool.
jack of all trades, master of none. We've seen this kind of thing in the past. Cooler Master of all people had what was called the Hydra 8800, which was an air cooler / liquid cooler for the 8800 GTX. Guys, go check it out. Poseidon is a much more elegant solution than that, but it's not like this is the first time it's been done. Something like iRacing is no different from GT6. Pay membership and then pay extra for more tracks and cars.
We've seen this in other games. It's just...
$140 is a lot, though.
Yeah.
Remember that having thingies traveling through the air involves 3D routes instead of 2D. That is a lot more routes. It's a lot more routes, but it's also a lot more devastating if something goes wrong. I guess would be my feedback. Didn't you buy ships in Star Citizen for more than that car? Yes, but I also got the game. And I also got insurance for my ships, and I also got the ability to be super badass right out of the gate.
Many other things in the game, and that was supporting... We both backed when it was Kickstarter.
Yes.
Neither of us backed when it was after Kickstarter.
I haven't bought any additional ships.
And at least when I backed it, I think when you backed it too, it wasn't even 100% funded
We
yet.
hadn't hit a bunch of the milestones that I really wanted to see hit. Like, I believe in the project.
We were
I want it to
supporting the
happen.
project. Yeah.
I'm not supporting GT6 to...
I got my backing before it was at 100%. Like, it wasn't even going to be a game yet.
Bed sheets are invisible to sonar and echolocation, so there's a very good point with respect to navigation. So you could catch drones.
You could make nets.
Yeah, drone nets.
Wow.
Drone net even sounds like a thing. Okay, we should like TM that.
Drone net TM.
Yeah, drone net
We'll
TM.
take 10% royalty.
Yeah, 10% royalty. I bet drones will have night vision type eyes. Okay, well, you're increasing the cost significantly again, because remember, the way night vision works is just like,
Wouldn't
okay,
smog
there's
still
different
be
kinds
a
of
big
night vision,
problem
actually.
with night vision? Because it's
not
particles.
sure. There's different ways that night vision works, and
Okay.
I think depending on which one, it may or may not be. I don't know enough about night vision to really talk about it.
I don't know much at all, so yeah.
Everyone will work at research facilities, maybe a few engineers and repair guys. Yeah, but not every... This is something that I think people need to come to terms with. Not everyone is cut out to be an engineer, and that's life. Not everyone is cut out to be the news anchor on their favorite news show. You know, you can look at the guy or the girl who's doing that and be like, oh, I wish I could do that.
There will probably still be stuff for people... I don't know.
But there's one spot for that person, and unfortunately, that's... that one person can get it. And so if we eliminate all the jobs for the people who aren't engineers, unless we support them in some other way, then then the engineers are all upset because, well, we're just supporting those guys and their layabouts and okay.
But there will probably be... I think there will probably be more jobs, and I think different markets will blow up a little bit more. And things might change. I don't know.
Harrison says, I'm looking at a video card for my friend. Post it on the forum, man. You need maintenance for 54,000 drones. There will be jobs made. You need people flying them too. No, they fly on their own.
Yeah.
And the maintenance, if you had 54,000 of exactly the same thing, it's probably worthwhile to invest in a machine that 3D scans and then 3D prints the replacement parts and then puts them back together. So yeah.
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 People still have to develop the software for that machine and build that machine and design that machine and all that kind of stuff. But
the show is called WAN Show, Weekly Analysis and News. Doesn't say computer in there.
we focus on technology stuff.
I mean,
and those drones are technology
yeah,
stuff.
they're totally technology. Linus Tech Tips. What confuses me, most reviewers say that AMD and Intel are both equally good, but most use Intel in their systems. Why? that's yeah, scroll. Apple iWatch. Okay, and the reason I'm avoiding that question has nothing to do with Intel paying reviewers or anything like that. AMD throws money at reviewers too. They both do. Don't imagine that doesn't happen. We use what we... Okay, that's... We talk about the merits of AMD technology a lot, but mostly we focus on what's great about it for the value-conscious consumer. When you're not paying for hardware...
You don't have to be value conscious.
You're not value conscious. Why do I run an Extreme Edition? Not because it makes any sense. I wouldn't buy an Extreme Edition.
Editions are ridiculous. Every single time I've seen an Extreme Edition recommended to anyone, I've always tried to step in and be like, whoa, wait.
Hold on a minute. There might be a better option for you. So it's not about what makes sense for an average consumer. It's about if you have this CPU that you got for free and this one that you got for free, then you might as well use whichever one is just outright better. Doesn't matter if it costs more.
8350 versus the 3960X.
Ooh, Apple iWatch rumors. Okay, I don't click on links during the show, but I'll definitely check that out. With NVIDIA's Tegra mobile chips going from strength to strength, do you think we'll ever see a desktop-grade NVIDIA CPU? No, I don't think so, because they can't get an x86 license. And x86 isn't going anywhere anytime soon. I think Windows RT is all the proof we need of that. And their mobile chips are going from strength to strength, but they don't have a whole lot of design wins with Tegra 4. It's in Shield and, like, their own tablet so far. So, I mean, I think it's great technology. I think it's a great product. I just am not sure what its place is in the marketplace in the long term. Guys, unknown is a Pokemon. Oh, okay, sure. Linus is right. We have actual numbers for Mantle, but cannot see G-Sync. Oh, wow. I don't care that you can't see G-Sync. I've seen it, and it's good. AMD is dropping the FX lineup. Blah, blah, blah. Is CPU upgradability of my AM3 Plus Mobo dead? Yeah, pretty much. You guys are bickering? Yeah, we do sometimes. We try not to do it on camera for the most part, but sometimes he's just so phenomenally wrong that it needs to be he needs to be put in his place.
Bull crap.
We need 8-core APUs. Yeah, I agree. People cannot comprehend G-Sync because they haven't seen it, but people do not know what with Mantle because it's not out yet. Yes, James Taylor, I agree with you. They can't comprehend. That doesn't mean it's unknown.
Oh my god.
Linus, I agree with you over Slick. Ah, Justin, you're my man. What if GPU and CPU could be used for combined equal power instead of having to find tasks? That's absolutely what's coming. HSA is coming.
That's the point.
All right. Should I buy a 780 Ti or save money and get an R9 and water cool it? We haven't done that test yet.
Would that be saving money?
No, it'd be about the same.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
And then that assumes you already own a custom liquid cooling setup for your CPU or something, and you can integrate
Unless
it.
you buy a G10.
And assumes you don't need to add another radiator to account for the extra heat load
Unless you
from the
buy
GPU.
a G10.
Unless you buy a G10, but that assumes you have an old Asetek unit kicking
But then
around.
that's still cheaper.
Cheaper.
Than like a block, probably. A G10 and an Asus.
Yeah, that's probably about right. Yeah, I think you're right. Oh,
whoa,
okay.
that was fun.
That went away really quickly there. Okay, back to Twitter. I agree about the benefits of one socket. It'll create more motherboard choices. Yep, absolutely. Tech fanatic, dude.
I'm still interested in what he has to say.
I'm interested in what he has to say, but he's like got as many tweets as everyone else combined. I'm very happy with my 8350. I think that it'll be enough for another 5 years. I think 5 years might be optimistic. I mean, we go back and look at what CPUs we were running 5 years ago. That was like LGA 775. The Core 2 Quad Q6600 has not aged particularly well. So doing all right. But, yeah.
Mine's still working pretty good.
Yeah, it works.
You can play BF3 on it.
Okay.
Like, no problem at all.
Okay. Didn't we run that and didn't it not run particularly well? I thought we tested that.
No.
Oh no, we had an E6600. Oh, okay. All right. Well,
I don't know about I'm not defending the 5 years thing.
I think I'm pretty much done with that for now. Why don't you do your build logs of the week thing? Where is it?
It's on the.
Is it on this form?
Is that you right there?
This week. Oh, okay.
Hooray!
Cool. Linus's screen. Let's all share it. So Linus can show us all the things. Whatever problem we had with frames getting dropped earlier on in the show is totally gone. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I had thought maybe we had a long-term problem there.
I'm gonna let you ponder. Oh wait, you gotta download it first. Oh, you are. Never mind. Gotcha. You might want to take a little pre-shot, try and figure out what's going on there.
That's awesome. That's like super classic. Wow. I love it. Huh. So this is a really cool build log.
There's yeah, they're both really cool.
All right, slideshow.
As normal, they're both.
So guys, just a reminder, these are build logs from the Linus Tech Tips forum build log section. You can definitely check them out there, and you definitely should.
Because it is basically impossible for us to cover everything and show everything on
Yeah, I'm
here.
just gonna hide us right now.
So we're just showing like ideas and stuff. Oh my goodness.
This is so cool. So there's a couple of I can't remember if this is P182 White Edition. I guess it would be. Can't remember exactly what case that is, but they've got one of them upside down and one of them right side up, and then whatever the heck's going on up here with handles. Unreal. So, okay, you know what?
Super
You
cool.
better walk through this.
You can
'cause-
tell the mid has been gutted.
Yeah, so you can see between the two cases is completely open now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of what we're showing here is going to be like some pretty close up. You can't. You need to go look at the build guide.
Build
Or build log, sorry.
Yeah.
Build log. Because there's a lot of shots that we didn't include. We included way too many shots of this computer, but we still can't show everything that's like important.
Look at these I love these fittings. Which ones are these? These are
Monsoon?
the are those the monsoons?
I think they are. I didn't actually look at the name in the build guide, but
Those
they
are-
look like monsoons.
Those are beautiful.
They remind me of monsoons. I'm not entirely sure.
They might not be. They might be a different one that I'd seen before. Either way, they're absolutely beautiful.
I didn't look up the name in the build.
Match the tubing really nicely. Normally, I wouldn't really like orange tubing or orange fluid, but it actually really works really well
Works
here.
really well there. And he has a really interesting scheme for his cable management color.
Look at these graphics cards. So he's turned it into a cube case, which is absolutely amazing. And I
Really
love the
cool.
lighting coming out through the front here as well.
Yeah.
What a fantastic gaming rig.
Chopping that middle through and make it go all the way through the back is just super cool. Really, really, really cool.
Midnight Smurf, water cooled 650D. I can already tell this is going to be beautiful.
I like
Got that carbon fiber.
In very small print, yet another
water cooled 650D.
So the first picture you go to that shows just awesome sleeving, and then you start to see like just carbon fiber on the things and stuff
Yeah.
everywhere.
They're on the block. They're on
Doesn't
the
shy
rack,
away from
right on the SSD. Love that.
doesn't shy away from too many cables.
Yeah.
Fills his freaking case. Like he's got a ton of stuff in here, which is really cool actually. Because I notice a lot of people that do build logs, they'll be like, yeah, my super awesome rig that has one card and you can't see any drives and there's nothing in here at all.
Yeah, well, to be clear, a rig can be super awesome and have one card.
Definitely.
We're not down on that. What we're down on is people being like, wow, look how great my cable management is when they have like one card and one drive.
Yeah.
Whereas like my system, people might knock my cable management, particularly at the back, but I have a sound card that needs power. I have a RAID card that has like SFF 8087 connectors that go out to like quad SATA breakout cables. I have my graphics card that needs two 8 pin. No, I'm down to an 8 pin and a 6 pin, so I had to hide the other 2 pins. I like jammed
That's
them behind
even
the
more
motherboard tray.
ridiculous.
Like full water cooling with 2 rads, I think is whatever I have. So it gets a lot more difficult the more crap, and like lighting all over the place becomes a lot more difficult to wire as well.
Yeah. So I wasn't knocking on people that don't have a lot of stuff in their case. I was just saying a lot of people try and brag about
The cable management
Yeah.
can be easier sometimes.
which is like and that's cool and you did a really good job. But like this is when I'm really impressed. It's like holy crap, this guy put all the things in his case and like his runs are super clean, nice arcs all over the place and the sleeving is awesome and it just looks really really good.
You know what I just realized? So that's the end of the show, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, thank you. Wow, we have like over 4,000 viewers today, which is absolutely phenomenal. If you tuned in late, you can always check out the archive on YouTube. And thanks for watching. So short, like official after party. I just want to show them like the new setup.
Sure, are we doing that in the archive? Like, are we doing?
Oh,
it so
should I stop and then start the stream again?
It's just whatever you want.
Yeah,
uploaded,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I'll do that.
Okay,
I'll do that.
so we'll be right back.